The public humiliation came at gate 42, where my husband stood with his mistress, my 6-year-old daughter's passport in his hand, and told a crowd of strangers that I was having another episode. Lily was crying behind Vanessa Cole's beige coat while Daniel held up a boarding pass to Lisbon and said, "Olivia, stop embarrassing yourself. She is my daughter too." I took off my wedding ring, dropped it into the side pocket of my purse, and pressed save on the recording I had started before I walked up to them. Daniel thought I had arrived too late. He thought I would scream, beg, and make myself look unstable in front of airline staff. He did not know I had already filed the child abduction alert, revoked every travel authorization, sent the forged consent letter to my lawyer, and called my brother Ryan, who was walking toward the gate in an airport police jacket with 2 officers beside him. "Daniel Hart," Ryan said, his voice flat and official. "Step away from the child, Daniel." Laughed once, like he still owned the room. Then the officers looked at the papers in his hand, and my husband's smile finally died. I saw Lily before I saw Daniel. My daughter was standing beside the boarding lane at gate 42 with her pink rabbit backpack hanging off one shoulder and her stuffed bunny pressed so tightly against her chest that its ears were bent under her chin. Her sneakers were untied, her cheeks were wet. She was not throwing a tantrum. She was trying to be quiet while every part of her small body begged someone to notice that she did not want to be there. Then I saw the woman beside her. Vanessa Cole wore a cream coat, oversized sunglasses, and the calm smile of someone who believed the scene had already been arranged in her favor. Her fingers rested on Lily's shoulder with the fake tenderness of a woman posing for a family photo. She leaned down and whispered something in Lily's ear. Lily flinched. My whole body went cold. Daniel stood at the counter with 3 passports in his hand. 3, his, Lily's, and Vanessa's. A leather carry-on sat by his feet. Vanessa's matching suitcase stood beside it, already tagged. The destination screen above the gate flashed Lisbon. Boarding had started for priority passengers for 1 sharp second. My brain refused to accept the shape of what I was seeing: my husband, his mistress, my daughter, international flight. Then Daniel turned, and his face changed. Not guilt, not panic, annoyance. "Olivia," he said, loudly enough for the airline agent and the first row of passengers to hear. "What the hell are you doing here?" I walked toward him, each step measured, because if I ran, he would use it. If I shouted, he would use it. If I cried, he would use it. Lily saw me. "Mommy," she whispered. Vanessa tightened her hand on Lily's shoulder. "Sweetheart, remember what Daddy said?" I stopped 3 feet away from them. My phone was in my coat pocket, recording. My wedding ring felt heavy on my finger, so heavy it seemed to pull my hand down. I twisted it once, slid it off, and dropped it into the side pocket of my purse without taking my eyes off Daniel. "Give me her passport," I said. Daniel laughed under his breath. "Don't start. Give me Lily's passport." The airline agent looked between us. "Sir, is everything all right?" Daniel turned toward her with the expression he used at business dinners when he wanted people to think he was the reasonable one. "My wife has anxiety issues. We're separated, and she's having another episode." There it was, the first public cut. A woman near the boarding lane glanced at me. A man lowered his phone. 2 teenagers openly stared. Vanessa rubbed Lily's shoulder and looked sympathetic, as if she and Daniel were the tired adults and I was a disturbance they had expected. I could feel my pulse in my tongue, but my voice stayed calm. "We are not separated," I said. "There is no custody order allowing international travel, and I did not consent to this trip." Daniel's smile thinned. "You knew about the vacation." "No, I knew about your affair." A small silence cracked open around us. Vanessa's mouth tightened. Daniel stepped closer. "Careful." That one word contained our entire marriage. "Careful, Olivia. Don't embarrass me. Careful. Don't upset my mother. Careful. Don't make Lily uncomfortable. Careful. Don't ask why Vanessa's name keeps showing up on my phone. Careful. Don't notice that your husband has moved half his life outside your home and left you to keep the lights on inside it." I looked at Lily. "Baby, come here." Lily moved before anyone else did. 1 small step, then another. Daniel caught the handle of her backpack. "Lily stays with me," he said. That was when the first airline supervisor came over. "Sir, I'm going to ask everyone to lower their voices." "My voice is lowered," I said. I reached into my purse and removed the printed documents Miriam had told me to keep with me. This is a copy of my daughter's birth certificate. This is my ID. This is the email I sent to your airline's security desk 40 minutes ago. My daughter is at risk of unauthorized removal from the country. Daniel's face hardened. You sent what? Vanessa took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were pale blue and bright with irritation. Daniel, boarding is closing. I almost laughed, not because anything was funny, but because she said it as if the problem were timing. Daniel pulled a folded paper from the front pocket of his jacket and slapped it onto the counter. I have consent. My stomach tightened. I knew he had something. I had known from the moment I found Lily's passport missing from the locked firebox that he had not planned to beg. Daniel hated begging. He preferred documents, signatures, and the soft violence of official-looking paper. The supervisor picked up the letter. I saw my name at the bottom, Olivia Bennett Hart, my signature, not mine. The paper said I gave Daniel permission to take Lily Hart to Portugal from May 14th through August 30th for family relocation exploration. It said I was aware Vanessa Cole would assist with childcare. It said I had waived objection to temporary overseas schooling if Daniel found it in the child's best interest. My hand stayed steady only because rage had gone past shaking. That signature is forged, I said. Daniel rolled his eyes. You signed it last month. I did not. You forget things when you're upset. Vanessa sighed softly. Olivia, this isn't healthy. Lily needs stability. I turned to her. Take your hand off my daughter. Vanessa held my gaze for half a second too long. Then she removed her hand, slowly, like she was granting me a favor. Lily ran to me. I dropped to one knee and caught her against my chest. She smelled like strawberry shampoo and airplane carpet and fear. Her little fingers clutched my collar. I didn't want to go, she whispered into my hair. Daddy said you said yes. My throat closed. I kissed her temple. I know, you're not in trouble. Daniel looked at the supervisor. Do you see what she's doing? She's coaching the child right now. Before I could answer, a voice came from behind me. Daniel Hart. Daniel looked over my shoulder, and the color drained out of his face. My brother Ryan walked toward the gate in a dark airport police jacket, his badge clipped at his belt. He was not alone. 2 uniformed officers came with him, and another airline security employee followed close behind. Ryan did not look at me first. He looked at Lily, then at Daniel, then at the forged consent letter in the supervisor's hand. Step away from the child, Ryan said. Daniel gave a short, disbelieving laugh. You have got to be kidding me. I'm not asking twice. Ryan, this is a family matter. No, Ryan said. It became an airport matter when you attempted to board an international flight with a minor after a custodial interference alert had been filed. Vanessa stepped back as if the floor had shifted. Daniel pointed at me. She is lying. She does this. She spirals. She makes accusations. She turns everyone against me. That's my daughter. And this, Ryan said, taking the consent letter from the supervisor, is now evidence. Daniel's jaw clenched. You can't do that. The officer beside Ryan held out a hand. Sir, we need you to come with us. I have a flight. Not anymore. People were openly watching now. A woman near the window had stopped pretending not to listen. The teenagers had their phones halfway raised until the supervisor snapped. No recording, please. Vanessa's voice went sharp. Daniel, fix this. That was the first crack in her elegance. Not fear for Lily, not concern over a child crying at an airport gate. She was angry that the plan had been interrupted. Daniel reached for Lily's backpack again. Ryan moved faster. Hands off, he said. Daniel's hand froze in midair. The second officer stepped between Daniel and us. Sir, turn around. Daniel stared at me. Something ugly moved behind his eyes. You did this, he said. I held Lily tighter. Yes. The honesty surprised him more than any scream could have. For 3 seconds he looked like he did not recognize me. Maybe he had never seen me without apology in my face. Maybe he had thought the woman who packed his lunches during investor weeks, hosted his mother's birthdays, remembered his allergy medication, and swallowed every insult for Lily's sake would collapse when he finally pushed too far. I did not collapse. The officer took Daniel's arm. Vanessa stepped forward. Wait, he didn't kidnap anyone. Lily loves him. Olivia is just jealous because Daniel and I are together. Ryan looked at her. Ms. Cole, You'll need to remain available for questioning. I didn't do anything. That will be determined. Daniel jerked his arm away once. It was enough. The officer turned him, brought his wrist behind his back, and the metallic click of the handcuff snapped through the gate like a struck match. Lily buried her face in my coat. Daniel's voice dropped low. Olivia, stop this now. I said nothing. The second cuff clicked. His face flushed. He looked around at the airline staff, the passengers, Vanessa, my brother, and finally me. The man who had called me unstable in front of strangers was now being led away from an international gate with his wrists secured behind his back. Vanessa stood frozen beside her cream suitcase. I picked up Lily's untied sneaker laces and tied them with fingers that finally started to tremble. Ryan crouched near me, his official expression softened for 1 second. Liv, are you okay? No, I said, but I have her. Lily sniffed. Uncle Ryan, am I going to jail? Ryan's face changed completely. No, Bug, you're going to get hot chocolate from the police break room, which is not as exciting as it sounds, but it has marshmallows. Lily hiccuped. Tiny ones. The tiniest. I almost cried then. Not when Daniel lied, not when he showed the forged signature, not when the handcuffs closed. It was the tiny marshmallows that almost broke me. Ryan stood. We need statements. Miriam is on her way. I nodded. She said 20 minutes. Good. He glanced at Daniel's abandoned carry-on. Do not touch his bag. But Vanessa did. While the officers led Daniel down the corridor, Vanessa reached toward the leather carry-on with quick, nervous fingers. I saw it because I was looking for it. I had spent 10 years learning how people acted when they wanted to hide something. Daniel went still. His mother smiled too hard. Vanessa moved fast. Don't. I said. She froze. Ryan turned. Step away from the bag. Ms. Cole, I was just getting my charger. Step away. The airline security employee pulled the carry-on behind the counter. Ryan asked the supervisor for a private area and documented the bag transfer. Everything had to be clean. Chain of custody. Miriam's voice echoed in my memory. Do not give them a procedural mistake to hide behind. Inside the airport security office 20 minutes later, Lily sat with a paper cup of cocoa and a blanket around her shoulders. I sat beside her, one arm around her, while a female officer asked her gentle questions with crayons on the table. Ryan stood behind the glass with another officer. Miriam Shaw arrived in a navy suit, her silver hair cut sharp at her chin, her eyes taking in everything before she spoke. She squeezed my shoulder once. You did exactly what we discussed, she said. You kept your voice level. You protected Lily. You did not touch him. I wanted to. I know. Across the hall, Daniel sat in another room with one cuff still attached to a metal loop on the table. Vanessa was in a separate room. Through the blinds, I could see her crying now. It looked practiced from a distance. Maybe close up too. An officer entered our room carrying an evidence envelope. Mrs. Hart, he said. We need to confirm whether these items belong to you or your child. He placed photocopies on the table, my driver's license, my passport, Lily's birth certificate, a copy of our marriage certificate, and a stapled packet with a title that made my skin go cold. Emergency petition for temporary sole custody. Petitioner, Daniel James Hart. Respondent, Olivia Bennett Hart. Grounds, maternal instability, emotional volatility, risk of parental alienation. My signature was not on that one, but Daniel's was. So was Vanessa Cole's name, listed as supporting caregiver during transition. Miriam leaned over the packet. Her face went very still. Olivia, she said softly, this was never a vacation. I looked through the glass at Daniel. He was watching me, and for the first time in our marriage, I let him see that I understood exactly what he had tried to do. The airport police room was too bright. Every surface seemed designed to deny comfort. White walls, grey table, metal chairs bolted to the floor, a clock with a second hand that clicked too loudly. Lily sat pressed against my side, both hands wrapped around her paper cup of hot chocolate. The tiny marshmallows had melted into a white film on top, but she kept staring at them as if they might give her an answer. A female child services liaison named Officer Patel sat across from us. She had kind eyes and a calm voice. She did not push Lily. She did not ask questions like traps. Lily, she said, placing a box of crayons between them, can you draw where you thought you were going today? Lily looked at me. I nodded. You can tell the truth, baby. Daniel had spent years teaching our daughter that his feelings were weather. If Daddy was angry, everyone stayed quiet. If Daddy was tired, everyone made room. If Daddy smiled, the house felt safe enough to breathe. I had done too much smoothing around that weather. I knew that now. I had thought I was protecting Lily from storms. Instead I had taught her how to measure the wind. Lily picked up a blue crayon. Daddy said we were going to a house with yellow walls, she whispered, and a school where kids speak English too. Officer Patel did not react. Did he say how long you would stay? Lily drew a square with a triangle roof. He said maybe until Mommy got better. Miriam's fingers stopped moving on her legal pad. My lungs forgot how to work. Did Daddy tell you Mommy was sick? Officer Patel asked. Lily's lower lip trembled. He said Mommy cries too much and gets confused. He said Vanessa could help me be brave. I closed my eyes for 1 second. In our kitchen 3 weeks earlier, Daniel had watched me cry over Lily's fever after the pediatrician sent us home with antibiotics. He had stood by the sink and said, "You make everything too emotional." That was the thing about Daniel. He did not just hurt you. He collected your hurt and filed it away for later use. Miriam's pen moved again. Officer Patel smiled gently at Lily. "You're doing very well. Did you want to go?" Lily shook her head. "Did you tell Daddy that?" A tear slid down her cheek. "He said Mommy signed the paper." I pulled Lily into my lap. The chair edge dug into my thigh. But I barely felt it. Miriam stood. "I need a copy of that statement request as soon as it's logged." Officer Patel nodded. "Of course." The door opened. Ryan stepped in, his expression official again. "Olivia, we need you to identify the consent letter and confirm whether the signature is yours." Miriam glanced at me. "We'll do it together." I kissed Lily's hair. "I'll be right outside the door." "Don't let Daddy take Bunny," she said. The stuffed rabbit sat on the table beside the cocoa. I picked it up and placed it in her arms. "No one is taking Bunny." Officer Patel stayed with her. While Miriam and I followed Ryan into a smaller room, a scanner hummed in the corner. An officer I did not know placed a printed copy of the consent letter in front of me. My name was at the bottom, the signature curved like mine if someone had seen it 3 times and practiced under pressure. The O was too round. The H in heart slanted wrong. I knew my handwriting the way I knew the shape of Lily's ear and the sound of Daniel lying. "This is not my signature," I said. "Have you ever signed a consent for Lily Hart to travel internationally with Daniel Hart and Vanessa Cole?" The officer asked. "No." "Have you ever authorized temporary overseas schooling?" "No." "Have you ever agreed to Vanessa Cole serving as a caregiver for your daughter?" My mouth went dry. "Absolutely not." Miriam slid another document across the table. "For the record, Mrs. Hart sent Mr. Hart written notice last month that any international travel involving the child required advance written consent through counsel." He acknowledged receipt. Ryan looked at me then, not as an officer, as my brother. His jaw tightened. I remembered the night I sent that email. Daniel had come home after midnight smelling like Vanessa's perfume and expensive hotel soap. I had not confronted him, not because I was blind, because Lily had a spelling test the next morning and I knew Daniel loved chaos when he was caught, so I had waited until he showered. Then I opened the family laptop and found a search history he had forgotten to clear. International schools, Lisbon English tuition, minor travel consent notarized without other parent present, how to relocate with child before divorce. I sat at the kitchen island until 3:17 a.m., hands freezing around a mug of untouched tea. At 3:18, I emailed Miriam. At 3:26, I scanned Lily's passport from the copy I kept in my cloud folder. At 3:41, I sent Daniel a written notice that he was not to travel internationally with Lily without my explicit consent. He replied at 8:02 a.m. "Stop being dramatic." Now that sentence was part of a legal file. The officer asked more questions. Where had I been that morning? When had I last seen Lily, who picked her up from school? Did I know Daniel had taken her out of her Friday art class early? That part hit me hard. "He took her from school?" I asked. Ryan's eyes flicked down. Miriam answered because she already knew from the emergency call I made in the cab. The school released Lily to Daniel because he remains listed as a parent. But Vanessa was in the car. Vanessa came to the school. Yes. The room tilted. Daniel had not just taken Lily from home, He had walked into her school with his familiar father smile, signed her out, and buckled her into a car where his mistress sat waiting. He had made our daughter leave with the woman who wanted my place. The officer placed another sheet in front of me. Do you recognize this? It was an itinerary. Daniel Hart, Vanessa Cole, Lily Hart, 3 seats in business class, 3 hotel reservations for the first 2 nights, then a short-term rental outside Lisbon for 90 days. 90 days. My fingers curled under the edge of the table. Miriam touched my wrist once, a warning and a comfort. Breathe. I breathed. The officer turned the page. A note in the booking file says, mother aware, medical stress. Father handling relocation. Did you provide that language? No, Ryan swore under his breath. Very quietly, the officer looked at him. Ryan straightened. Apologies. Miriam pointed to the booking note. We want the travel agency and IP records preserved immediately. They're being requested, the officer said. From the hall came a burst of Daniel's voice. This is insane. She set me up. I looked toward the door. The officer closed the folder. Mrs. Hart, Mr. Hart is claiming you gave verbal consent, then changed your mind because you discovered his relationship with Ms. Cole. Miriam smiled without warmth. Of course he is. He also says you have a history of emotional instability. What history? I asked. The officer hesitated. He mentioned postpartum depression. Lily was 6. I had postpartum depression for 4 months after a traumatic delivery. I got treatment. I kept records. I did everything right. Daniel had slept in the guest room because he said my crying made him feel helpless. Now he had turned that into a weapon. He is using medical history from 6 years ago, Miriam said. We will provide records showing treatment, discharge, and no current impairment. We will also provide Mr. Hart's written admissions that Mrs. Hart is the child's primary caregiver. The officer nodded. Ryan stepped closer to the table. Liv, did Daniel have access to your medical files? He had access to everything. I said that was the simplest and ugliest truth. He had access because he was my husband. Because I trusted him with passwords when Lily was born and I was too exhausted to remember which insurance portal needed which login. Because marriage was supposed to mean shared emergency contacts, not future ammunition. Miriam wrote something down. We revoke all permissions today. I nodded. All of them. The door opened again. Another officer leaned in. Ms. Cole is asking if she can leave. Ryan's expression hardened. No, she says she has no legal connection to the child. Then she should have no problem explaining why she was boarding an international flight with her. The officer left. Miriam gathered the copies into a neat stack. Olivia, Daniel may be released pending further review unless they decide the forged document and attempted removal justify holding him longer. Either way, we need to move faster than he expects. What do we file? Emergency custody, passport surrender, no international travel, no school pickup without written approval, exclusive occupancy of the home if he becomes aggressive, and we begin divorce proceedings. Divorce, the word did not crash into me the way I thought it would. It landed like a door closing in a house already on fire. I thought of my wedding ring in my purse pocket, the ring Daniel had chosen because he liked how it looked under restaurant lighting, the ring his mother said was tasteful enough. Even if Olivia's family isn't as established as ours, the ring I wore while forgiving late nights, hidden texts, cold dinners, and Vanessa's name appearing one too many times. I did not feel grief yet. I felt a clean line draw itself inside me. Yes, I said, file everything. Miriam's eyes softened. Good. Ryan escorted us back toward Lily's room, through the open blinds across the hall. I saw Daniel standing now, one hand free, his lawyer on speakerphone. His hair was still perfect. His shirt sleeves were rolled up like he had been inconvenienced at work, not caught trying to disappear with a child. He saw me and stepped toward the glass. I did not stop. He lifted his free hand and mouthed one word, fix this. I opened the door to Lily's room and went inside. Lily looked up from her drawing. Can we go home? Not our old home tonight, I said, because Daniel knew every corner of it. We're going somewhere safe. Is Daddy mad? Yes, I said. She looked scared. I knelt in front of her. But Daddy's feelings are not your job. Her eyes searched my face as if I had spoken a language she almost understood. I said it again, slower. Daddy's feelings are not your job. They're not mine anymore either. Lily held Bunny tighter. Officer Patel placed Lily's drawing into a folder. I saw what she had drawn: a yellow house, a plane, a small blue figure standing outside the door, me not inside with her, outside. My chest burned. Miriam's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and frowned. What? I asked. She turned the phone toward me. A message from an unknown number had arrived with a photo attached. It showed Lily asleep in her bed 2 nights earlier. The angle was from inside our house. The message underneath read, "You can still be reasonable, withdraw the complaint, or the court will see what kind of mother lets strangers watch her child." I stared at the photo until every part of me went quiet. Daniel had not sent that from his phone. Vanessa had. We did not go back to the house that night. Ryan drove Lily and me to his apartment in Queens, where his wife, Elena, had already made up the guest room with clean sheets and placed a nightlight shaped like a moon on the dresser. Lily fell asleep holding Bunny under her chin, but she woke every 20 minutes to ask if the plane was gone. Each time, I answered the same way: yes, the plane left without you. By the 4th time, she believed me enough to sleep for almost 2 hours. I did not sleep. I sat at Ryan's kitchen table with Miriam on video call, my laptop open, my phone charging from a borrowed cord, and Daniel's life spilling across my screen in files I had been too tired to organize until the night forced me to. Bank statements, school emails, screenshots of Daniel's texts, a copy of the deed to our house, a copy of my father's trust documents, medical records, the original passport scan, the email where Daniel wrote, "You're being dramatic." Elena placed coffee beside me at 2:10 a.m. "You don't have to do all of it tonight." "Yes," I said, clicking another folder open. "I do." She sat across from me. "Ryan said Daniel was always polished." I didn't realize polished could mean dangerous. "It usually doesn't," I said. "That's how he got away with it." At 7:30 a.m., Miriam filed the emergency petition. At 8:05, the court clerk confirmed receipt. At 8:12, Daniel called me for the first time since the airport. I let it ring. He called again. I let it ring again. Then Patricia Hart called. I looked at my phone until Elena said, "You don't have to answer." "I know." I answered anyway and put it on speaker because Miriam had told me not to take any call alone. Patricia did not say hello. "What have you done to my son?" Her voice had the same polished edge as Daniel's. Money wrapped around a knife. She had never shouted at me. She did not need to. Patricia Hart could make a compliment feel like a background check. "Good morning, Patricia," I said. "Do not good morning me. Daniel spent the night being treated like a criminal because you had a jealous fit in an airport." Elena's eyes widened. I opened a new audio recording. Daniel attempted to leave the country with Lily using a forged consent letter. He is her father. I am her mother. And mothers are supposed to act in the child's best interest, not drag police into private family embarrassment. Private ended when he brought Vanessa. A pause, then Patricia said, "Vanessa is not the issue." I almost smiled. She was holding my daughter at an international gate. "Because Daniel needed help. You have been unstable for months." There it was again. The family script had been printed and distributed. "Give me one example," I said. "You cry, you overreact. You question Daniel's schedule. You make Lily anxious." Lily was anxious because her father lied to her and tried to put her on a plane. Patricia exhaled sharply. "You will withdraw whatever complaint you filed. You will come home. You will discuss this like adults. If you continue, Daniel will have no choice but to protect himself." "From what?" "From you." I looked at the moon nightlight glowing down the hall. Lily was finally asleep. "Patricia," I said, "if Daniel wants to discuss anything, he can do it through my lawyer. You cannot afford to fight this family." That old threat would have worked on me once, not because it was true, because Patricia had spent years making me feel like I was a guest inside my own life. Daniel came from the Harts, private schools, board seats, brunches where people mentioned islands by first name. I came from a public school teacher mother and a father who built a modest real estate business and left me enough to never need a heart dollar, though Daniel's family preferred to forget that part. "I paid the down payment on the house," I said. "The deed is in my trust. Lily's school tuition comes from my account. The health insurance is through my job, so be careful when you say family. Patricia, you may not mean the one funding yours." Silence. Elena covered her mouth. Patricia's voice dropped. "You are showing your true colors." "No," I said, I finally stopped hiding them. I ended the call and sent the recording to Miriam at 10:00 a.m. I returned to the house with Ryan, Elena, and a locksmith. Our home sat on a tree-lined street in Westchester, the kind of street where people waved while remembering your trash cans had stayed out too long. The house looked peaceful. From the curb, white siding, blue door, hydrangeas beginning to bloom near the steps. A chalk drawing Lily had made 2 days before still marked the driveway. A sun, a flower, 3 stick figures. The third figure had a square body because Lily said Daddy was always wearing suits. I stood at the edge of the driveway and felt a wave of nausea. Ryan touched my elbow. You don't have to go in first. Yes, I said, I do. The front door opened with my code. For now, the air inside smelled wrong, not bad, different. A sharp vanilla perfume had settled in the entryway. Vanessa. I walked room to room with my phone recording. The kitchen looked untouched until I opened the cabinet where Lily's travel snacks were kept, empty. The firebox in the hall closet had been moved. The shelf dust showed its old outline like a ghost. In the primary bedroom, Daniel's watch drawer was half empty. His passport was gone, of course. Mine was not in the desk where I kept it because it had been in his carry-on at the airport. Ryan photographed the desk. Elena opened Lily's closet and made a small sound. Liv, I went to her. A row of Lily's summer dresses was missing. Her rain boots, her favorite denim jacket with the daisy patch. The drawer where we kept her hair bows had been emptied into a plastic bag and left open. Not a vacation, a relocation. I gripped the doorframe in the primary bathroom. Vanessa's lipstick sat beside my sink, not hidden, not forgotten, placed. The shade was a soft coral. Daniel once said looked too young on me. I took a photo. Ryan saw my face. Liv, I'm fine. You're allowed not to be. I'll fall apart later. The locksmith arrived and changed the codes on the smart locks while Ryan checked windows. Miriam had advised me not to lock Daniel out illegally without the emergency order, but she also said I could change access codes if I had safety concerns and provided his attorney a method to retrieve personal items by appointment. Safety concerns. My husband had tried to take my child out of the country. The phrase seemed too small. At noon, an email arrived from Lily's school. Mrs. Hart, we received your request to update pickup permissions. Please note that Mr. Hart submitted revised emergency contact forms last week listing Ms. Vanessa Cole as an approved caregiver. Please confirm how you would like us to proceed. My hands went cold again last week, while Daniel kissed Lily goodnight in the hallway and told me he had an early investor call, while Vanessa was saving photos of my sleeping child, while Patricia was telling me I should make more effort with Daniel because men did not like homes that felt tense. I called the school. Maya Ellis, Lily's teacher, answered instead of the front desk. Her voice was careful. Olivia, I was hoping you would call. Maya, did Daniel bring Vanessa to school yesterday? A pause. Yes. Did Lily seem okay? She was quiet. I asked if she was excited for the trip. She looked confused. Daniel said you were resting. And he was handling everything. I closed my eyes. Maya's voice lowered. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. He had the paperwork. It looked official. Can you send me copies? I'll need administration approval. But yes, also, she hesitated. There was a letter attached. What letter? It said Lily might be withdrawn for an overseas trial semester due to family health stress. I sat down on the edge of Lily's bed. The room still smelled like her lavender laundry detergent. Her library books were stacked by the lamp. On her pillow lay a tiny plastic crown from a birthday party. Daniel had planned to remove her from all of this. Who signed it? I asked. You did? No, I said. I didn't. Maya inhaled. I'll send everything to the principal and mark the file. Olivia, I'm so sorry. Thank you. When I hung up, Ryan was standing in the doorway. Another forgery? He asked. Yes. Daniel did not come home that day. He sent an email through an attorney named Blake Sutter, accusing me of parental alienation and unlawful exclusion from the marital home. Miriam replied within 40 minutes with references, attachments, and a sentence I read 3 times because it felt like oxygen. Mr. Hart's access to the home can be arranged through counsel after he surrenders all passports, keys, school documents, medical authorization forms, and copies of any documents bearing Mrs. Hart's alleged signature at 4:30 p.m. Daniel texted me from a new number. You have no idea how bad this will get if you keep humiliating me. I screenshotted it. Then another message arrived. Lily needs a father more than she needs your drama. I screenshot that too. Then a third. You think Ryan can protect you forever? I stared at that one longer. Ryan read it over my shoulder. His face went still. Send it to Miriam, he said. I am. He looked around the house. Pack what you and Lily need for the week. You shouldn't stay here tonight. I wanted to argue. This was my house, my father's money, my name on the trust, my daughter's drawings on the fridge, but safety was not pride, and I was done confusing endurance with strength. I packed Lily's clothes, her school folder, her favorite blanket, and the framed photo of us from her kindergarten art show. I left the wedding photos on the wall as I zipped the suitcase. I heard a sound from the front porch, a car door. Ryan looked out the window. Daniel. My stomach tightened. Daniel walked up the path with Patricia beside him and Vanessa behind them, still in the cream coat, still wearing the face of a woman who thought she belonged wherever Daniel brought her. Ryan opened the door before they could use the old code. Daniel looked past him at me. You changed the locks, he said. I stepped into the hallway, phone recording in my hand. Yes. His eyes dropped to the phone. He smiled coldly. Still performing? No, I said, documenting. Patricia pushed forward. This is my son's home. I looked at her. No, it isn't. Vanessa gave a soft laugh. Olivia. Don't be petty. We just need Daniel's things. I stared at her coral lipstick. You left something in my bathroom, I said. Her smile disappeared. Daniel's jaw tightened. You're making this uglier than it has to be. You tried to take my daughter overseas with your mistress, our daughter. Then you should have remembered she has a mother. He stepped closer to the threshold. Ryan moved between us. Daniel looked at him. Are you going to arrest me for picking up my suits? Ryan's voice was flat. Try stepping inside without her consent and find out. For the first time that day, Daniel looked unsure, not afraid yet, but unsure. That was new. Miriam called while we stood there. I answered on speaker. Olivia, she said. The emergency hearing is tomorrow morning at 9. Daniel's face changed. Miriam continued. And Daniel's attorney has been served. Patricia grabbed Daniel's arm. What hearing? Daniel did not answer her. He looked at me with the expression of a man watching a door close from the wrong side. I held his gaze. Then Miriam said the sentence that made Vanessa go pale. The court will also review the forged school withdrawal letter. Vanessa took one step back. Daniel turned toward her, and I knew, from the look that passed between them, that the letter had not been his idea alone. The first emergency hearing lasted 27 minutes. 27 minutes to put a temporary wall between Daniel and Lily. 27 minutes to make a judge frown at the forged consent letter, the school withdrawal form, the threatening text, and the airport report. 27 minutes to hear Daniel's attorney say miscommunication 6 times until the judge finally looked over her glasses and said, Counsel, forged signatures are not miscommunication. I sat beside Miriam with my hands folded under the table. Daniel sat 10 feet away in a charcoal suit, clean-shaven, composed, and furious under the skin. He did not look at me when the judge ordered him to surrender Lily's passport if he had any copy or duplicate access. He did not look at me when she temporarily barred either parent from removing Lily from the state without written agreement or court approval. He did look at me when the judge suspended Vanessa Cole from any caregiving or school pickup role pending review. That look said, you will pay for this. I looked back. My look said, send the invoice to my lawyer. Outside the courtroom, Patricia waited in the hallway with Vanessa. Patricia wore pearls and outrage. Vanessa wore a black dress and no sunglasses today. Her eyes were red, but not from guilt. She looked at Daniel first, not Lily, not the papers in his hand. What happened? She asked. Daniel walked past her. Not here. Patricia came toward me. I hope you're proud of yourself. Miriam stepped neatly into her path. Mrs. Hart will not be discussing pending custody matters with you. Patricia's eyes flicked over Miriam as if lawyers were a lower species of service worker. This is family. Miriam smiled. Then perhaps your family should stop creating evidence. Ryan, who had taken a personal day to attend the hearing as my brother, made a sound that might have been a cough. I did not smile. I was too tired. Lily had woken up crying at 3:00 a.m. because she dreamed the plane came back. I had held her on Ryan's couch until dawn, whispering the same sentence over and over, "You are safe. You are safe. You are safe." Now safety had a court stamp, but only a temporary one. Daniel stopped near the elevators and turned back. "Olivia." I kept walking. "Olivia." Miriam touched my arm. "You don't have to engage." I stopped because I wanted to hear what version of himself he would try next. Daniel approached slowly, his voice lowered. "Can we talk without an audience?" "No." His eyes flicked to Miriam, then Ryan, then back to me. "You're letting other people poison this." I almost admired the speed. He had gone from forged paperwork to my brother poisoning me in under 24 hours. "You put our daughter on a flight itinerary with your mistress," I said. "I made a mistake." Vanessa's face changed behind him. "A mistake? Not a plan, not a crime, not a betrayal, a mistake. Like buying the wrong milk. You made hotel reservations for 90 days. I needed space to think. You filed a custody petition calling me unstable. My attorney overreached." Miriam laughed once. It was not a happy sound. Daniel ignored her. "I panicked because you've been so angry lately." "There it is," I said. "What?" "The part where your actions are my fault." His mouth tightened. I turned toward the elevator. He said, "You're going to destroy Lily's life over Vanessa." I looked back. "No, Daniel, you risked Lily's life for Vanessa. I'm stopping you." The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside with Miriam and Ryan. Daniel did not follow. At noon, I went to the bank. It was strange how ordinary the lobby looked. Marble floor, soft chairs, a coffee station near the private client desks. I had opened my first account there with my father when I was 16. He made me ask the banker questions myself. "Money is not romance," he told me afterward in the parking lot. "Money is choices. Never give all your choices to someone who benefits from your silence." I had thought of that sentence many times during my marriage. I had not obeyed it enough. A senior account manager named Priya met me in a glass office. Miriam joined by video. I revoked Daniel's access to the household expense account funded by my separate trust. I removed automatic transfers to his business credit card. I froze the emergency line he had used for family travel. I changed login credentials. I requested records of all transfers over $5,000 for the past 18 months. Priya printed forms. I signed slowly. Each signature felt like cutting one thread. At 12:43 p.m., Daniel called. I declined. At 12:44, he called again. I declined. At 12:45, Vanessa texted, "This is hurting Lily." Daniel only wanted a peaceful transition. I screenshotted it. At 12:47. Daniel texted, "Why is my card declined?" I stared at the message and felt something close to laughter rise in my chest. Not happiness, not triumph, recognition. The first thing he noticed was not Lily's fear, not the court order, not the damage. The card. Miriam's voice came through my earbud. "Do not respond, I won't." At 1:10, Daniel sent another message. "Olivia, don't be stupid. That account pays for the hotel, so Vanessa was at a hotel." Good. I forwarded the message to Miriam. At 1:15, Patricia called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message arrived as a transcript. "Your behavior is vindictive and unbecoming. Daniel has responsibilities. You cannot cut him off because your pride is wounded. Call me immediately." I saved it too. Then I went to Lily's school. Maya met me in the administrative office with the principal, Mr. Alvarez. Both looked shaken. On the desk lay copies of the revised emergency contact form and the overseas withdrawal letter. My forged signature sat at the bottom of each page. Mr. Alvarez removed his glasses. "Mrs. Hart, I owe you an apology. The forms appeared complete, but given the circumstances, we should have called you directly." "I appreciate that," I said. "Right now I need Lily's file locked. We've already restricted pickup to you and your approved list only. Mr. Hart cannot remove her without court documentation and direct confirmation." Miriam had prepared a packet for them. I handed it over. Temporary order, no travel, Vanessa barred from school contact, attorney information. Maya walked me to Lily's classroom afterward. Through the window, I saw Lily sitting at a table with two other children, cutting construction paper hearts. She looked smaller than usual. Her teacher's aide said something and Lily nodded seriously, like she had aged overnight. My throat tightened. Maya spoke softly. She asked if planes can turn around and take kids from school. I closed my eyes. I told her no one here would let anyone take her without checking with you. Maya said, thank you. She also asked if she did something bad. That one went straight through me. I stepped into the classroom when Lily saw me. She ran across the room and hit my waist with both arms. Mommy, I knelt. Hi, baby, are we going on a plane? No, ever. Someday for vacation if you want. But not today, not without me knowing. Not because someone tricks you. She looked at Maya, then back at me. Miss Ellis said I can make a safety card. That's a great idea. She reached into her cubby and pulled out a piece of paper with 3 names written in purple marker: Mommy, Uncle Ryan, Aunt Elena, not Daddy. I felt the grief then, a small, sharp grief, not for Daniel, for the fact that Lily had needed to learn this list. I folded the card carefully and put it in my wallet. I'll keep it safe. That evening, Daniel tried a different approach. He came to Ryan's building at 7:00 p.m. with flowers, not lilies. He knew better than that. White roses, the ones he bought when he wanted forgiveness without conversation. The doorman called upstairs, and Ryan looked at me. No, he said before I spoke, I'm not going down alone. You're not going down at all. But I wanted to see what he would do in the lobby, under cameras, with witnesses. So Ryan came with me. Elena stayed upstairs with Lily. Daniel stood near the front desk holding the roses like a prop. He looked tired enough to appear human. That was dangerous. Daniel tired could make people want to comfort him. He saw Ryan and sighed. Of course. You came to my building, Ryan said. I came to speak to my wife. I stopped 6 feet away. Speak. Daniel looked at the doorman. Then Ryan. Privately, no. His expression tightened, then softened by force. Olivia, I'm sorry. The words landed without weight. For what? I asked. He blinked. For everything getting out of hand. No. His jaw shifted. I said, try again. Daniel lowered the flowers. I'm sorry you were scared. No. Ryan's mouth twitched, but he looked away. Daniel's eyes hardened. What do you want me to say? The truth. He stepped closer. Ryan stepped too. Daniel stopped. His voice dropped. Fine. I should have told you about the trip. I waited. And Vanessa. I waited. And the school. I waited. His mask cracked. Jesus. Olivia. What do you want? Blood. No, I said. My daughter's safety. My money separated from your lies. My house protected. My name off your forged papers. And a divorce. He went still for 1 second. I saw the word hit him harder than the handcuffs had. Don't say that, he said. I already told my lawyer. You're emotional. I'm clear. You don't mean it. There was the misjudgment again. The old Daniel, reaching for the old Olivia who would soften when he looked wounded. I took the flowers from his hand. His eyes flickered with hope. I walked to the lobby trash can and dropped them in. I mean it, I said. The doorman stared at the desk. Ryan coughed again. Daniel's face flushed dark. You think this makes you strong? No, I said. It makes me done. I turned to leave. His voice followed me, quiet and poisonous. You'll come back when you realize how hard it is to raise her alone. I looked over my shoulder. I've been raising her alone, I said. You're just finally noticing. Upstairs. Lily was asleep on Elena's couch with the moon nightlight plugged into the wall beside her. My phone buzzed as I tucked a blanket around her. Miriam, Daniel's attorney, just filed notice of intent to seek emergency temporary custody. A second message followed. He attached a psychological evaluation. I stared at the screen. I had not seen a psychologist for an evaluation, which meant Daniel had either found someone willing to lie, or he had forged more than my signature. The psychological evaluation was dated 12 days before the airport. It claimed I presented with acute emotional instability, obsessive jealousy, and impaired judgment around marital conflict. It claimed I had fixated on the husband's professional relationships with women. It claimed I had expressed irrational fear that the father might remove the child from the country. I read that sentence 4 times. Irrational fear. Daniel had made my correct fear look like a symptom before he proved it true. Miriam read the report at her conference table while I sat across from her with my hands wrapped around a paper cup of coffee I did not drink. Her office overlooked Bryant Park. People below moved between food carts and office doors, living inside a normal Friday. I watched them and wondered how many women were sitting in conference rooms above them, learning the private language of betrayal. This evaluator is a problem, Miriam said. Is it real? The license number is real. the report may not be. There is no intake signature, no consent form, no session notes attached. It references an interview with you that did not happen. Can we prove that? We can. But Daniel's strategy is clear. He wants to make the airport look like a mother's breakdown. Instead of a father's attempted removal, I looked at the report again. He planned the defense before the act. Yes. My phone buzzed. Patricia. I ignored it. A second later, Daniel texted, my mother wants dinner tonight. No lawyers. We need to settle this before strangers ruin our family. I showed Miriam. She frowned. Don't go. I should. No, Olivia. They're going to push a document at me. Almost certainly. Then I want it. Miriam looked at me for a long moment. You will not go alone. You will record if state law allows. You will not sign anything. You will not drink anything you didn't pour. You will leave the second they block the exit. I nodded. And Olivia, yes. Do not let them pull you into defending your sanity. Make them defend their actions. That sentence stayed with me all day. At 6:30 p.m., I arrived at Patricia's townhouse on the Upper East Side with Ryan waiting in a car outside and Miriam aware of my location. I wore a plain black dress, low heels, and no wedding ring. My phone was recording in the inner pocket of my blazer. Patricia's dining room looked like a magazine spread, white roses, crystal glasses, silver flatware, a long table set for 8. Though only 5 people were present, Patricia sat at the head, Daniel sat to her right, Vanessa sat beside Daniel, Daniel's sister, Claire, sat stiffly across from them. Eyes red as if she had been crying before I arrived. At the far end sat Daniel's uncle Robert, a retired judge who had once told me at Thanksgiving that mothers were naturally better at compromise. Wonderful. Patricia looked at my bare hand first. How dramatic, she said. I sat without answering. Daniel's eyes stayed on me. He looked tired again, but this time the softness did not reach his mouth. Thank you for coming. I came to hear what you wanted to say. Patricia folded her hands. We want peace. Vanessa lowered her eyes. Claire looked at her plate. Uncle Robert cleared his throat. Divorce and custody battles destroy children. You two need a cooling-off arrangement. Daniel reached beside his chair and placed a folder on the table. There it was. Miriam had predicted the folder. I still felt my stomach tighten when I saw it. Daniel pushed it toward me. Temporary parenting plan. Not a legal trick, just structure. I did not touch it. Read it. His mouth tightened. Olivia. Read it out loud. Patricia sighed. Don't be childish. I looked at her. If it's fair, he can read it. Daniel opened the folder. Lily stays primarily with me for 60 days while you seek counseling. You get scheduled visits. We pause legal filings. We agree not to discuss the airport incident with third parties. We jointly request that the police treat it as a misunderstanding. Claire's head snapped up. Daniel, he ignored her. Vanessa said softly, it's just temporary. I looked at her wrist, Lily's bracelet. Tiny silver beads, a purple enamel star. I had bought it for Lily after her first school play. She wore it when she needed bravery. I had packed it in her travel drawer at home. Where did you get that? I asked. Vanessa glanced down too late. What? The bracelet? Daniel's eyes dropped to Vanessa's wrist. Vanessa's fingers closed over it. Lily gave it to me. No, she didn't. Patricia waved a hand. A child's trinket is not the issue. It is when your son's mistress is wearing it while asking me to hand over my daughter. Vanessa's face flushed. I have been nothing but kind to Lily. I leaned back. You told her I was sick, Daniel said. I told her you needed rest. You told her I signed a travel consent. You were supposed to. The room went silent. Daniel realized his mistake half a second after I did. I kept my face still. Uncle Robert leaned forward. Daniel, what does that mean? Daniel closed the folder. It means we had discussed travel. No, I said. It means you expected me to sign, and when I didn't, you produced a signature anyway. Vanessa stood. This is ridiculous. You twist everything. Sit down. Patricia snapped. Vanessa sat. Claire pushed back from the table. Did you forge her name? Daniel glared at her. Stay out of this. She's my niece. She is my daughter. And Olivia's. Claire said. That surprised me. Claire had never liked me much. Or maybe she had liked me fine but feared Patricia more. Daniel's voice sharpened. Don't let her manipulate you. I looked at Claire. Ask him why Vanessa was listed as supporting caregiver on an emergency custody petition. Claire's mouth opened, Patricia's face changed. She had known about dinner pressure. She had known about Vanessa. She had not known every document. Daniel stood. This is exactly why we need an agreement. Olivia escalates everything. I took the folder and opened it. Miriam had told me to photograph anything they gave me. I took my time. Page 1, page 2, page 3. On page 4, I found the clause, during the temporary period, Olivia Bennett Hart agrees to suspend access to Lily Hart's education trust and allowed Daniel James Hart to administer child-related financial decisions. There it was, money, not only control, not only Vanessa, Lily's trust. I looked up. You want Lily's trust? Daniel's face went blank in the way guilty people go blank when their first lie dies. Patricia said, Daniel has more financial experience. The trust is from my father. And Lily is a Hart. No, I said, my voice cold enough to frost the crystal. Lily is a child, not a family asset. Vanessa's polished softness cracked. No one is stealing from her. Daniel is trying to build a stable life for her because you're too angry to see what's best. I turned to her. What is best for my daughter is not being moved overseas with the woman sleeping with her father. Vanessa stood again. I am not ashamed of loving him. You should be ashamed of using a 6-year-old as your entry visa into his life. Her eyes flashed. I have done more to calm that child in 2 months than you have done in years. Claire whispered, oh my God. Daniel snapped, Vanessa, but Vanessa was too angry to stop. She clings to you because you make everything scary. Daniel said it from the beginning. Lily needed someone who didn't treat motherhood like martyrdom. I felt the hit. It landed because it was aimed at the deepest bruise. I had been tired, I had been anxious. I had cried quietly in bathrooms. I had sometimes made motherhood look hard because motherhood was hard, but I had never made Lily a weapon. I stood and placed the folder into my purse. Daniel reached for it. That stays here. No, you gave it to me. It's a private family document. It's evidence. Patricia stood too. You will not leave this house with that. From outside, my phone buzzed once. Ryan checking in. I looked at Patricia. Do not block the door. Uncle Robert pushed back his chair. Patricia, let her go. Daniel stepped into my path. You walk out with that. And I stopped being nice. I almost laughed. This was nice. His voice dropped. You don't want to fight me. I already am. For a second, the room held its breath. Then Claire moved. She walked to the sideboard, picked up her car keys, and looked at me. I'll walk you out. Daniel stared at her. Claire, she did not look at him. No, I'm done pretending this is normal. Patricia made a small wounded sound. Claire, sit down. Claire's hands shook. But she kept walking. Mom, he tried to take Lily out of the country. Vanessa is wearing the child's bracelet. And you're all talking like Olivia is rude for noticing. The first real crack in the heart wall opened at that table. I followed Claire to the door. Daniel did not stop me this time. He was too busy recalculating outside. Ryan got out of his car the second he saw me. You okay? He asked. I got the document. Claire stood on the steps behind me. Her face was pale. I need to tell you something, she said. I turned. She looked back at the glowing townhouse windows, then at me. I heard Vanessa on the phone last week. She said once Daniel got Lily overseas, the American court would be playing catch-up. She said you'd fold because you couldn't afford to chase them. My fingers tightened around my purse strap. Ryan's expression changed from brother to officer again. Claire, are you willing to put that in a statement? She swallowed for one awful second. I thought she would retreat, then she nodded. Yes, she said. I should have said something sooner. Behind her, through the window, Vanessa watched us from the dining room. The bracelet on her wrist caught the light, and when I looked down at my phone, I saw a new notification from Lily's school security app. Emergency contact change request pending. Submitted by Daniel Hart, requested guardian, Vanessa Cole. The next morning began with the school. I arrived before the first bell, carrying a court order in one hand and Lily's backpack in the other. Lily walked beside me in a yellow sweater, her safety card tucked into the front pocket of her jeans. She had asked to keep it there, just in case, she said. The words were too heavy for a 6-year-old. Maya met us at the classroom door. She crouched to Lily's height. Good morning, sunshine. Lily looked up. Is Daddy allowed today? Maya did not flinch. Not today, only your mom, Uncle Ryan, or Aunt Elena, Mr. Alvarez, and I have the list. Lily nodded with the solemnity of a judge. And Bunny? Bunny is always approved, Maya said for the first time since the airport. Lily smiled. I watched her hang up her backpack, and the smile nearly undid me. Then Maya stood and handed me a sealed envelope. These are copies of everything Daniel submitted, she said. The principal approved release to your attorney. There's also a log from the front desk. Vanessa signed in twice as a family friend. Twice. Maya nodded. Once for art day, once for lunch volunteer orientation. I stared at her. Vanessa had stood in my daughter's school cafeteria wearing a visitor sticker while I was at work, probably cutting apple slices and learning which children had peanut allergies. She had not only wanted Daniel, she had been rehearsing my life. Did Lily know? I asked. She looked confused the first time. Vanessa told the front desk you were busy. Of course she did. I thanked Maya, kissed Lily goodbye, and walked out before my face broke in the hallway. In the car, I opened the envelope. Forms, copies, logs. Vanessa Cole, family friend. Vanessa Cole, authorized emergency contact pending parent confirmation signature. Olivia Hart, not mine. I sent everything to Miriam. Her reply came 2 minutes later. Come to the office. We need to visit the notary today. The notary stamp on the travel consent belonged to a small community services office in White Plains, one I had used 3 years earlier for a preschool enrollment document. Daniel knew that because he had complained about the parking. Miriam and I went there at 10:30 a.m. Ryan could not come in officially without an open assignment, but he waited nearby in plain clothes because Daniel's latest threat sat in a police file now. The office smelled like toner and old coffee. A woman behind the counter looked up from a stack of forms. Her name tag read Anita. Miriam placed a copy of the travel consent on the desk. We need to verify a notarization. Anita adjusted her glasses. The moment she saw the stamp, her mouth tightened. This is our stamp, she said. But that number is wrong. Miriam leaned in. Wrong how? Our current notary sequence starts with 47B. This says 41K. We haven't used that format in over a year. I felt a small piece click into place. Could someone have copied an old stamp? I asked. Anita looked uncomfortable. A stamp went missing last winter. We reported it. Miriam's eyes sharpened. Do you have the report? I'll need permission to release it. Miriam handed her a card. Please have your supervisor contact me immediately. This document was used in an attempted international removal of a minor. Anita's face changed completely. Oh, she took the card as we turned to leave. A young man near the printer looked up too quickly. He had a trimmed beard, nervous hands, and a visitor badge. When he saw me watching him, he looked down at his phone. Miriam noticed outside. She said, "You saw him?" "Yes, we don't chase, we preserve." "I'm learning." Her mouth curved slightly. "You're doing better than learning." We were halfway to the car when my phone rang. Unknown number. Miriam nodded once. I answered and put it on speaker. "Mrs. Hart," a woman said. "My name is Grace Miller. I used to work at North Star Travel." My skin prickled. "Yes, I processed your husband's booking." Miriam went still. Grace's voice shook. "I saw the news post. The one he made about you being unstable. I need to tell you something. But I can't lose my job." "Do you still work there?" Miriam asked. "Who is that?" "My attorney," I said. Grace hesitated. "No, I quit yesterday. Not because of this. I mean, partly because of this. Daniel Hart called 3 times before booking. Vanessa called twice. They wanted to know which countries were less strict about one-parent entry if there was a notarized consent letter. I told them I couldn't advise on custody issues." Miriam's voice stayed calm. "Did they provide the consent letter?" "Yes. Vanessa uploaded it through the client portal." I closed my eyes. "Vanessa," Grace continued. "The note about the mother being medically stressed, that came from Vanessa too. Daniel approved it." "Do you have records?" Miriam asked. I saved screenshots. I know I probably wasn't supposed to, but it felt wrong. There was a child on the booking. "Grace," Miriam said, "you may be a key witness. We can discuss legal protections, but do not send anything to anyone else yet." "Where are you now?" Grace named a coffee shop in Queens. Ryan drove us there. Grace was 26 or 27, with a messy bun and a raincoat even though the sky was clear. She sat in the back corner with both hands around a paper cup. She looked like someone who had slept badly and regretted developing a conscience at a dangerous time. Miriam sat first. Thank you for meeting us. Grace looked at me. I'm sorry, I should have flagged it harder. You did more than most people would, I said. She swallowed. Vanessa kept saying the mother was unstable. Daniel sounded so calm. He said you had agreed but were too emotional to handle logistics. Did he mention divorce? Yes, he said they had to leave before things got messy. Miriam opened her folder. What did you bring? Grace pulled a manila envelope from her tote bag. Inside were printed screenshots from the travel portal, email notes, payment logs, and a message thread between Vanessa and the agency's general inbox. One line made my vision narrow. Can we list me as caregiver? Olivia is technically the mother, but Daniel and I will be managing Lily's day-to-day needs abroad. Technically the mother, technically, as if motherhood were a clerical detail. Miriam photographed everything. Grace, would you be willing to sign an affidavit? Grace looked terrified. I leaned forward. Daniel will try to make this look like a misunderstanding. Vanessa will say she was just helping. If you tell the truth, it helps protect Lily. Grace's eyes filled. I have a niece her age. She nodded. That afternoon, Daniel made his first public move, not through court, through social media. Daniel had always kept a polished online presence for his company. Founder posts, fatherhood posts, photos of Lily from behind so he could seem protective while still using her outline for engagement. At 3:16 p.m., he posted a black and white photo of himself holding Lily as a baby. I had taken that photo. The caption read, "Divorce is painful. Watching someone you love become consumed by jealousy and use your child as a weapon is worse. I will always fight for my daughter's peace, even when lies are easier for others than accountability." He did not name me. He did not have to. Within an hour, mutual acquaintances were texting, "Thinking of you both. Hope Lily is okay." Divorce brings out the worst in people. One woman from Daniel's investor circle sent, "Olivia, please don't make this public. Children deserve privacy." I stared at that one for a long time. Then I drafted a response and did not send it. Miriam called, "Do not respond publicly yet. He's making me look insane. He's trying. It's working. For people who want it to work, court is not Instagram." But school parents had seen it. Daniel's family had seen it. Vanessa had liked it from a private account with no profile photo. That night, Lily asked why Daddy put her baby picture on the internet. I froze. "Who told you that?" Ava's mom asked Miss Ellis if I was okay. I sat beside Lily on Ryan's guest bed. "Daddy wrote something because he's upset. About me, about grown-up things. Did I do bad?" "No." I took both her hands. "Listen to me. Adults can make bad choices about children. That does not mean the child did anything wrong." She looked down. "Daddy said if I told you about the yellow house, you would cry." The room went silent. I kept my voice steady. "Did he ask you to keep secrets from me?" She nodded. "What kind of secrets?" "The plane, Vanessa, the new school. He said it was a surprise until you got better." I felt something inside me harden into shape. "Baby," I said, "safe adults don't ask children to keep scary secrets from their mom." She leaned into me. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Daniel. "I saw Lily today in a dream. She was crying because you turned her against me. Is that what you wanted?" Then another, "You can end this anytime." Then a video attachment. My thumb hovered. I should have waited for Miriam. I should have sent it unopened. But the thumbnail showed me at the airport. I opened it. Daniel had posted a clip, 22 seconds. Me walking fast toward gate 42, my face pale, my voice saying, "Give me her passport." Lily crying. Daniel saying, "Olivia, stop embarrassing yourself." Cut. No forged letter, no Vanessa holding Lily, no Ryan, no handcuffs, no officer saying custodial alert, just enough to make me look like a frantic wife ruining a trip. Under the video, Daniel had written, "This is what I've been dealing with privately." My hands shook now, not from weakness, from the effort of not throwing the phone across the room. Ryan knocked softly and stepped in. "Liv." I turned the screen toward him. His face went dark. "He wants public," Ryan said. Miriam's voice, steady in my memory, answered before I could. "Not yet." I locked the phone and placed it face down. "No," I said, "he wants me to react." Ryan's anger paused. I looked at Lily, who had curled around Bunny with exhausted eyes. "So I won't react," I said. "I'll answer." Vanessa chose the cafe. That told me something. She texted from the same unknown number she had used to send the photo of Lily sleeping. Miriam traced nothing useful from it yet. But Vanessa did not need anonymity anymore. She wanted me to know. We should talk woman to woman. Daniel is making everything worse. Cafe Marion, 11 a.m. Come alone if you actually care about Lily. I showed Miriam. No, she said, I'm going. Olivia, she wants to perform. I want to hear the script. Miriam leaned back in her chair. You're recording? Yes. You're sitting near an exit? Yes. You are not accepting papers, drinks, gifts, or apologies. I wasn't planning to accept apologies from my husband's mistress. Miriam almost smiled. Good. Cafe Marion sat on a pretty corner with hanging plants. In the windows and pastries arranged like jewelry. Vanessa was already there when I arrived, seated at a small table near the back. She wore soft pink today, a cardigan, pearl earrings, minimal makeup. She looked less like a mistress and more like a kindergarten admissions brochure. She had chosen the costume carefully. I ordered my own coffee and carried it to the table. Vanessa watched me sit. Thank you for coming. I'm not here for you. No, of course not. She folded her hands. I'm here for Lily too. I placed my phone face down on the table, recording. You are not Lily's family. Her smile did not move. Family isn't only blood. You are Daniel's affair partner. A woman at the next table looked over. Vanessa's cheeks colored. Must you be vulgar? Must you take children to airports? Her eyes sharpened. There she was. Daniel was trying to give Lily stability, she said, with a forged consent letter. I didn't forge anything. You uploaded it. She blinked once. Grace's screenshots had done their job even before court. Vanessa recovered quickly. Daniel handled the legal part. So you admit there was a legal part. Don't twist my words, then use better ones. Her fingers tightened around her cup. This is why he's exhausted. Every conversation with you is a trial. No. The trial is next week. Her mask slipped enough for me to see the hate. She leaned in. Do you know what Lily asked me the first time I volunteered at her school? I said nothing. She asked if moms are allowed to be sad all the time. That hit hard, but I kept my face still. Vanessa watched for blood. I told her moms are people too. Then she asked if I was sad. I said no, because I know how to choose happiness. I looked at her pearl earrings. Did you practice that line? She sat back. You think this is about me taking your place? I think you used my child's fear to audition for it. I was there because Daniel asked me. You were there because you wanted to be seen there. Her nostrils flared. The cafe noise moved around us. Milk steaming, cups clicking, a stroller wheel squeaking near the door. Normal life. While Vanessa and I sat at a table with my daughter's safety between us, she lowered her voice. You want the truth? Fine. Daniel should have left you years ago. Then he should have filed for divorce. He stayed because of Lily. He tried to leave with Lily. He panicked because you would never let him go. I was the one who asked for divorce. You asked after you humiliated him in public. He was handcuffed at an airport because your brother made sure of it. I smiled then, a small, cold smile. Vanessa saw it and stopped. My brother responded to a report I filed. I said, Daniel made sure of the rest. She looked away first. I let the silence sit. Then I said, why Portugal? Her eyes flicked back. Nice weather. She said, no. Why that rental? Why that school? Why 90 days? I don't know. Yes, you do. She stirred her coffee though she had not added sugar. Daniel wanted a clean start. With my daughter's trust. Her spoon stopped. There it was again. The tiny pause. Greed leaves before it remembers to hide. Lily's trust is for Lily, she said. You asked the travel agency to list you as caregiver managing her day-to-day needs abroad. If I was going to help, things needed to be clear. Help with what? School, doctors, routines, access. She looked at me. You are paranoid. And yet I keep being right. Her hand tightened around the spoon until her knuckles paled. I leaned forward. Did Daniel promise you he could access the trust if Lily lived with him? Vanessa said nothing. Did he promise you the house? Her eyes flashed. I had guessed. Her reaction gave me the answer. I thought of Daniel in our kitchen saying, your father's trust makes taxes complicated. I thought of him asking whether the house would be easier to refinance if it sat outside the Bennett Trust. I thought of every dinner where Patricia called my separate assets family. Resources. With a smile, Vanessa set the spoon down carefully. Daniel said you hold money over him. I paid his company payroll twice. He said you made him beg. He never begged, he complained, and I fixed it. Vanessa's mouth twisted. You really think you're noble? No, I said, I think I was useful. For a moment. Neither of us spoke, then Vanessa leaned closer, her voice almost tender. Lily likes me. I held her gaze. Lily is kind to people who scare her. The words changed the air. Between us, Vanessa's expression hardened into something honest. You don't deserve that, child, she said. I felt my anger rise, clean and bright. Say that again. She realized too late. I tapped the phone on the table once. Her face went still. You recorded this? I document conversations with people who send photos of my sleeping daughter. She stood so abruptly her chair scraped the floor. You're sick. The woman at the next table looked over again. This time she did not look at me. Vanessa grabbed her purse. Daniel was right. You turn everything into evidence. I stood too. No, Vanessa, you turn everything into evidence. I just keep it. She walked out, pink cardigan swaying. My hands shook only after she was gone. Miriam listened to the recording that afternoon. She replayed the section about the trust twice. She didn't fully confess, I said. No, Miriam said. But she revealed knowledge she claimed not to have. It helps. At 3:40 p.m., a court notice arrived. Daniel had filed for emergency temporary custody, attached exhibits, the edited airport video, his social media post, the psychological evaluation, a statement from Patricia claiming I had a pattern of emotional volatility, and a statement from Vanessa Cole in it. Vanessa wrote, I have personally witnessed Lily Hart express fear of her mother's mood swings. I became involved only because Daniel Hart asked for support during an increasingly unsafe home situation. Unsafe home, the words blurred for a second, then my phone buzzed with a message from Maya. Olivia, I'm sorry to send this, but Daniel's attorney subpoenaed Lily's school records. Also, someone called asking whether Lily had ever come to school hungry or unwashed. The caller said they were from child welfare, but the number looked strange. We did not release anything. I forwarded it to Miriam. She called immediately. He's building neglect. I know. Olivia, listen carefully. This is the point where many people panic and agree to a bad temporary plan just to stop the accusations. I'm not agreeing. Good. Because tomorrow we push back. That night, Lily and I sat on Ryan's living room floor building a block tower. She placed a blue block on top and called it the airport. Is Daddy bad? She asked suddenly. I looked at the tower. I had promised myself I would never use Lily as a courtroom. I would never make her hold adult anger. But I also would not lie to keep Daniel's image warm while his choices burned her. Daddy did something bad. I said, that doesn't mean you have to decide everything about him right now. She considered this. Did Vanessa do bad? Yes. Lily knocked over the airport block with one finger. I don't want her at my school. She won't be. Promise. I promise. My phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. Court tomorrow. Last chance to stop this before Lily hears what kind of mother you really are. I stared at it for a long moment, then I opened the hidden folder on my phone where I had stored everything. Airport recording, Vanessa cafe recording, Patricia dinner recording, threat texts, school forms, bank transfers, travel agency screenshots, forged letters. The folder had a name I had chosen at 3:18 a.m. The night I first found his search history. Lily safety. I added Daniel's latest text. Then I sent one message to Miriam. Use everything. Family court did not look dramatic enough for the damage it held. The hallway had beige walls, vending machines, and parents standing in clusters with folders pressed to their chests. Some looked angry, some looked exhausted, some looked like they had already lost something and were waiting to find out how much. I sat beside Miriam on a wooden bench while Daniel stood 20 feet away with his attorney, Blake Sutter. Patricia sat behind him. Vanessa was not there, but her statement sat in the folder on Blake's table like a perfume stain. Daniel wore navy today. He looked solemn, almost wounded. He had shaved. His wedding ring was still on. That almost made me laugh. Miriam noticed. What? He's wearing the ring. Of course he is. Court costume. Across the hall. Daniel looked at me as if he could hear us. Then he glanced at my left hand, still bare. His mouth tightened. Blake approached first. Mrs. Hart. My client remains willing to resolve this without further trauma to the child. Miriam did not stand. Your client attempted to remove the child from the country with forged documents. That allegation is disputed. The handcuffs were not Blake's. Smile thinned. Daniel stepped forward. Olivia, please, think about Lily. I looked at him. No, you're punishing me. You keep confusing consequences with punishment. His eyes flashed, then he caught himself and lowered his voice. I know you're angry about Vanessa. I'm angry about my daughter crying at an airport gate. A clerk called our case before he could answer. Inside the courtroom, the judge was the same woman from the emergency hearing. Judge Ramos, sharp eyes, patient mouth. No appetite for theater. Daniel's side went first. Blake stood and painted me as a mother unraveling under marital stress. He used phrases like high conflict, obsessive jealousy, and emotional reactivity. He played the edited airport video on a monitor. There I was, walking fast, face pale, voice tight. Give me her passport. Daniel's recorded voice. Olivia, stop embarrassing yourself. The video stopped before Ryan appeared. Blake turned to the judge. This is not the behavior of a parent acting calmly in a child's best interest. I felt the old reflex rise. Defend yourself, explain your face, apologize for your fear. Miriam's pen tapped once on her pad. Make them defend their actions. Judge Ramos looked at Miriam. Response. Miriam stood. Your Honor, opposing counsel has shown 22 seconds of a 12-minute incident. We request permission to submit and play the full airport security timeline, including the forged travel consent, the child's visible distress, Mr. Hart's attempt to retain physical control of the child's backpack, and law enforcement intervention. Blake objected. Judge Ramos allowed it. The full footage began. No music, no commentary, just the airport from a ceiling angle. Daniel at the counter with 3 passports. Vanessa's hand on Lily's shoulder. Me approaching. Daniel turning toward the airline agent. The supervisor receiving the consent letter. Lily moving toward me. Daniel grabbing her backpack. Ryan arriving with officers. Daniel reaching again. The officer turning him around. The handcuffs. The courtroom was silent when it ended. Judge Ramos looked at Blake. Counsel. Blake cleared his throat. The video lacks audio context. Miriam held up a flash drive. We also have audio recorded by Mrs. Hart, beginning before she approached the gate. Blake's face changed. Daniel looked at me. Not hurt now, hate. Judge Ramos listened to the key portion. Daniel calling me unstable. Vanessa saying Lily needed stability. Daniel claiming I signed. Lily whispering that she did not want to go. Ryan ordering Daniel to step away. When it ended, Judge Ramos removed her glasses. Miriam continued. We also submit the school withdrawal letter bearing Mrs. Hart's forged signature, the emergency contact form adding Ms. Cole, travel agency portal records showing Ms. Cole uploaded the consent letter, and an affidavit from Grace Miller, formerly of North Star Travel. Blake stood. We have not had time to review that affidavit. You filed an emergency petition. Judge Ramos said, emergencies move quickly. Miriam called Maya next. Maya looked nervous on the stand, but her voice steadied as she described Daniel signing Lily out early, Vanessa waiting in the car, Lily seeming confused, and the later discovery of forms bearing my alleged signature. Then Miriam asked, did Mrs. Hart ever authorize Vanessa Cole to pick up, supervise, or make school decisions for Lily Hart? No, Maya said. Did Lily ever express fear of her mother to you? Maya looked at me once. No, Lily expressed fear that she would be put on a plane without her mother. Daniel looked down. Patricia whispered something behind him. Judge Ramos heard and looked over. Patricia shut her mouth. Then came Daniel's turn. Blake asked gentle questions. Daniel answered in a low, wounded tone. He said he had planned a temporary trip, not relocation. He said Vanessa was only assisting because I had been overwhelmed. He said I knew about the possibility of international schooling and later denied it out of anger. Miriam stood. For cross-examination. Mr. Hart, did Mrs. Hart sign the travel consent in your presence? Daniel hesitated. She signed it at home. Were you present? I was nearby. Nearby where? In the house. Which room? He blinked. The kitchen. Miriam looked at her notes. At what time? I don't remember. Who notarized it? The office handled that. What office? I don't know. Miriam picked up a page. Isn't it true the notary stamp used on the letter was reported missing last year? Blake objected. Judge Ramos allowed Daniel to answer. I don't know anything about that, Daniel said. Isn't it true Vanessa Cole uploaded the letter to the travel portal? I asked her to help with logistics. Isn't it true the booking was for 90 days? It was flexible. Isn't it true the school withdrawal letter referenced a trial semester overseas? Daniel's jaw tightened. We were exploring options. Without the mother's consent, I believed I had consent. With a forged signature, I did not forge anything. Miriam let the silence sit. Then she lifted another document. Mr. Hart, why does your proposed temporary parenting plan ask Mrs. Hart to suspend her control over Lily's education trust and allow you to administer funds? Daniel's face went pale, then red. That's financial planning for Lily. Your daughter's trust is funded by Mrs. Hart's late father. Correct, I'm her father. That wasn't my question. Yes, Daniel said. Have you personally borrowed money from Mrs. Hart's separate assets for your business? Daniel stared at her. Judge Ramos leaned forward. Answer: yes. How much? I don't have the figure. Miriam did. Approximately $280,000 over 18 months. Blake objected. Judge Ramos looked interested now. Miriam moved on before the judge stopped her. Did any of those transfers go toward travel expenses for yourself and Ms. Cole? Daniel's voice dropped. No, I knew that. No, I had heard it when he said he was working late, when he said Vanessa was just consulting, when he said the perfume on his shirt came from a crowded elevator. Miriam placed a bank statement on the screen. Hotel, dinner, boutique, airline deposit. Daniel said nothing. The judge called a recess in the hallway. Daniel came straight for me. Ryan stepped in front of him. Daniel's voice shook. You gave her bank statements. I gave my lawyer evidence. You're trying to ruin me. No, I'm trying to protect Lily. She's my child too. Then stop treating her like leverage. His face twisted. You don't know what leverage is. Miriam appeared beside me. Mr. Hart, step away from my client. Blake grabbed Daniel's arm. Daniel, now. Daniel let himself be pulled back, but his eyes stayed on me when court resumed. Judge Ramos issued temporary orders, primary physical custody with me pending full evaluation, Daniel's visitation supervised through an approved center, no removal from the state, no passport access, no contact between Vanessa and Lily, no school pickup by Daniel except through court-approved supervision, no public posting of Lily's image or custody allegations, a forensic review of disputed signatures, a guardian ad litem for Lily. The gavel sound was soft, the impact was not. Patricia stood too quickly. This is outrageous. Judge Ramos looked at her. Sit down or leave. Patricia sat. Daniel did not move. His attorney whispered to him. Vanessa was not there to see it, but for the first time, Daniel lost something in a room where his last name could not protect him. Outside, Maya squeezed my hand before leaving. Lily's lucky to have you. The words hurt because I wished luck had nothing to do with it. Daniel waited near the courthouse doors. Olivia, he said. Miriam and Ryan both tensed. Daniel lifted both hands slightly. Palms out. I'm not going to make a scene. That would be new. I said. His face tightened. You won today, fine. But court orders are paper. Lily is flesh and blood. She loves me. Remember that. I stepped closer, just enough that he could hear me without raising my voice. She loves the father she thought you were. Don't confuse that with permission to keep hurting her. For once, he had no immediate answer. Then my phone buzzed. Grace, I opened the message. Daniel just contacted my old manager asking who gave you the records. He sounded furious. Please be careful. A second message arrived before I could respond. Also, I checked something. He booked another itinerary yesterday, not commercial this time, private terminal supervised. Visitation began on Tuesday at 4:00 p.m. in a cheerful room painted with clouds. The center was called Family Bridge, which sounded gentle enough to hide the reason people needed it. There were toys, board games, washable markers, a dollhouse, 2 cameras in opposite corners, and a supervisor named Janine who explained the rules to Daniel while Lily stood half behind my leg. No leaving the room without staff, Janine said. No whispering secrets, no discussion of court, adult conflict, travel, or the other parent. No gifts unless approved in advance. Physical affection must be child-led. Daniel listened with a face carved from stone. He wore jeans and a sweater. An outfit meant to make him look like a weekend dad instead of a man who had just lost unsupervised access. He knelt in front of Lily and opened his arms. "Hey, bug." Lily did not move, his face flickered. I crouched beside her. "You can say hi however you want." Lily lifted one hand, a tiny wave. Daniel's smile strained, but he accepted it. "I missed you." Lily looked at Janine. "Can mommy stay?" Janine smiled. "For the first few minutes, yes." Daniel's eyes flashed toward me. "It's okay, Lily. Mommy doesn't have to watch everything." Janine wrote something on her clipboard. I saw Daniel notice. He corrected himself. "I mean, we can play if you want." Lily chose blocks, not the airplane blocks, the animals. She made a zoo with tall fences and put a tiny lion outside. Daniel picked up a giraffe. "Where does this one go?" "With mommy," Lily said. His jaw tightened. I stepped out after 10 minutes because Janine indicated it was time. I sat in the observation area behind one-way glass, where I could see Lily but she could not see me. It felt cruel and necessary. Daniel behaved for 12 minutes. Then he leaned close and said something too low for the room microphone. Janine interrupted immediately. "Mr. Hart, please keep your voice audible." Daniel sat back. I told her I love her. Lily stared at the blocks, my hands curled in my lap. At the end of the visit, Lily came out quiet but not crying. Daniel followed, carrying a paper bag. "I brought her sweater," he said. Janine checked the bag. Inside was a small blue cardigan Lily had left at home and a sealed envelope with my name on it. Janine removed the envelope. "This is not approved." Daniel looked offended. "It's for Olivia. All communication goes through counsel. It's a letter, not a weapon." I almost laughed from the hallway. Janine handed it back to him. "Not today." Daniel looked at me then. The mask slipped for 1 second. I saw the pressure building under his skin. Court order, frozen accounts, supervised visits, Vanessa barred, Patricia questioning him, Grace turning witness. Daniel was not a man who adapted to losing control. He escalated until control came back or everything broke. The next day, Child Services came to Ryan's apartment. The social worker was polite and apologetic, which told me she had seen false reports before. Her name was Ms. Harlan. She showed ID, explained the complaint, and asked to see where Lily slept. The complaint alleged that I was emotionally volatile, that Lily appeared afraid, and that I had removed her from the marital home to an unsafe environment with unrelated adults. "Unrelated," Elena said, standing in the kitchen with her arms crossed. "I'm her aunt, Ms. Harlan smiled faintly. "I understand. We verify." I let her. The guest room was clean. Lily's clothes were folded. Bunny sat on the pillow. The refrigerator had yogurt, fruit, leftovers, and Lily's favorite string cheese. Ms. Harlan spoke with Lily privately in the living room while I sat where I could be seen but not hear. When Lily came back, she climbed into my lap. Ms. Harlan closed her folder. "I don't see immediate safety concerns here. I will complete the report. Can you tell me who filed it?" I asked. "I can't disclose that." "I know," she hesitated, "but I can advise you to keep documenting." "I am." After she left, Lily asked, "Was that because Daddy said you're bad?" I held her carefully. "Some adults are confused. Some adults say things that aren't true. The lady came to check, and she saw you're safe." Lily frowned. "Daddy says if people ask questions, I should say I miss him." "Do you miss him?" She looked ashamed. "Sometimes." "That's okay." "Are you mad?" "No." I hugged her tighter. "You're allowed to miss someone and still be scared of what they did." That sentence was for both of us. On Thursday, Daniel's second supervised visit took place at the Children's Museum because the center allowed community visits after initial review. Janine came, I came, Ryan came but stayed outside near the entrance, off duty, because none of us trusted Daniel's version of compliance. The museum was bright and loud, full of climbing nets, water tables, and children banging plastic pipes together. Lily relaxed after 20 minutes. She showed Daniel how to make a foam boat move with air pressure. He smiled at her with real warmth, and for a painful second, I saw the father he could have been if love had mattered more than control. Then Vanessa appeared near the coat racks. She wore a baseball cap and sunglasses, but I knew her walk. My heart slammed once. I moved before she reached the exhibit. Janine saw my face and turned. "Mr. Hart, is Ms. Cole present?" Daniel looked up too quickly. "What?" Vanessa stopped near a side hallway. Lily saw her and froze. I walked toward Vanessa. Leave, Vanessa. Lifted both hands. I'm here with my niece. Where is she? Vanessa's mouth opened. No child appeared. Janine spoke into her phone, calling museum security. Daniel stood. Olivia, don't make a scene. I turned on him. You brought her. No, I didn't. Vanessa backed toward the side hallway. Ryan entered through the museum doors at the same moment, scanning the room. He was not in uniform, but Vanessa recognized him and turned faster. Lily began to cry. Daniel moved toward her. Come here. Sweetheart. No, Lily said. Daniel stopped. It was the first time I had heard her say it to him. The word was small, but it landed like a dropped glass. Janine stepped between them. Mr. Hart, please remain where you are. Daniel's face darkened. This is ridiculous. Museum security reached Vanessa before she could exit. She insisted she had done nothing wrong. Technically, she had entered a public museum, but the court order barred contact with Lily, and she had appeared during Daniel's supervised visit without a child, without a ticket. Purchased in advance, and with a cap pulled low over her face, Janine documented everything. Daniel tried to leave 10 minutes later, not through the main entrance, through a side exit near the coat room. He held Lily's hand. I saw them because I had not stopped watching. Daniel, he froze. Lily turned, confused. Daddy said the bathroom was this way. There was no bathroom that way, only an emergency exit and a service corridor. Janine came fast. Mr. Hart, step away from the exit. Daniel released Lily's hand as if burned. She needed air. Then you ask me, I'm her father, and you are under supervised visitation. The alarm chirped because his shoulder had pushed the emergency bar half an inch. Everyone looked. Children stopped playing. Parents turned. A museum employee approached. Daniel's face flushed as the public gaze he had used against me finally found him. Lily ran to me. I picked her up, though she was getting too big to carry. Her arms locked around my neck. I didn't know, she whispered. I didn't know. I know. Daniel stared at us, breathing hard. Janine ended the visit on the spot. That should have been enough to make him careful. It did the opposite. At 8:00 p.m., Miriam called. Daniel filed a motion claiming you staged the museum incident. How would I stage him walking to an exit? He says Vanessa was there by coincidence and you overreacted to alienate Lily. Of course he does. There's more. He wants the court to order a full psychological evaluation of you. I looked at Lily asleep under Elena's quilt. Let him. Miriam paused. You're sure? I'll take any legitimate evaluation. He won't survive the comparison between real records and forged ones. That is exactly the right answer. At 9:30, Grace called me crying. Daniel came to my apartment, she said. I sat up. Are you safe? My roommate was home. He didn't touch me. He said I misunderstood the booking. He said if I signed anything, his lawyer would ruin me. Call the police. I did. They're sending someone. Good. Send me the report number when you have it. She sobbed once. I'm sorry. I'm scared. I know. But Grace, he came because your testimony matters. She was quiet, then she said, there's something else. The private booking. It's not Lisbon. It's Toronto first, then a connection through Montreal. Names are different on the quote. My skin went cold. What names? Daniel Hart, Vanessa Cole, and Lily Bennett. My maiden name. Miriam had warned me about alternate surnames. I had thought Daniel would not dare. Grace continued. There's a note asking whether a child can travel with a certified copy of a birth certificate if a passport issue is pending. I stood so fast the chair scraped the floor. Daniel no longer had Lily's passport, so he was looking for another way. Send it to Miriam, I said. I will. When I hung up, I called Miriam, then Ryan. At 10:12, Lily's school security app pinged. A pickup authorization request had been submitted, not by Daniel, by a law office courier service claiming to carry an emergency court order. The attached document had Judge Ramos's signature. Miriam opened the file and called me 30 seconds later. Fake, she said. Do not send Lily to school tomorrow until we have security in place. Ryan was already putting on his jacket. I looked down the hall at Lily's sleeping face. Daniel's words from the courthouse returned. Court orders are paper, so I opened my folder, added the fake order, and understood what he had really meant. Paper could be forged, but so could a trap, and this time, I would let him walk into one with every camera on. Friday morning, Lily did not go to school. Maya marked her absence as excused and told the front desk that any inquiry about Lily Hart had to be transferred directly to the principal. Miriam notified Judge Ramos's clerk about the fake order. Ryan filed a supplemental report. Grace sent the private terminal quote. By 9:30 a.m., every person Daniel thought he could move around had already seen the path he was trying to take, but we still did not know when he would try. At 11:07, the answer came from the school. Mr. Alvarez called me personally. His voice was controlled in a way that meant he was angry. Mrs. Hart, a courier just arrived with the same emergency order. He asked that Lily be released immediately to her father's custody. She isn't there, I know. We told him she was in class and asked him to wait while we verified. He's in the front office now. Miriam was beside me at Ryan's kitchen table. She wrote on her pad. Ryan stood near the window, already on his phone. Can you keep him there? I asked. For a few minutes, Mr. Alvarez said. He's getting nervous. Do not confront him. Do not give him any information. We won't. Ryan muted his call. Airport police are being notified. Port Authority too. We're checking private terminals. Miriam looked at the private quote Grace had sent. The charter company is based out of Teterboro, but the quote includes a ground transfer from Westchester. Elena came from the hallway. Lily is watching cartoons, headphones on. Good, I did not want my daughter to hear adults arranging a net around her father. At 11:24, Ryan's phone buzzed. He listened, then looked at me. Black SUV just arrived at a private aviation terminal in Teterboro. Daniel's name is on a passenger list. Vanessa too. No Lily listed. My stomach tightened. No Lily because he expected to bring her with the fake order, Miriam said. Ryan nodded, or he changed the name. At 11:31, Mr. Alvarez called again. The courier left. A black sedan picked him up. Ryan relayed the plate to dispatch. At 11:39, Grace texted Miriam. Vanessa just called the charter office angry. Said the child is delayed but they should keep the crew ready. The child, not Lily, the child. Something inside me went very still. Miriam looked at me. You do not have to go. Yes, I said. I do. Ryan frowned. Liv, I'm not going for Daniel, I'm going because when this is shown later, no one gets to say I hid behind paperwork while strangers handled my daughter's life. Miriam studied me, then nodded. We go together. Elena stayed with Lily. Before I left, I knelt beside the couch. Lily pulled off her headphones. Are you going to court? Something like that. Is Daddy coming? No, you're staying with Aunt Elena. Her eyes searched mine. Is there a plane? I did not lie. Daddy is near one. You are not. She absorbed that with a bravery I hated. That she needed. Then she handed me Bunny. For you, she said. I held the stuffed rabbit against my chest. I'll bring him back. Promise. Promise. The drive to Teterboro felt both too long and too short. Miriam rode in the passenger seat, making calls. Ryan drove. I sat in the back with Bunny in my lap and my phone open to the Lily safety folder. Daniel texted at 12:05, you're making this worse. Let me see my daughter. At 12:06, you can't erase me. At 12:07, I will not lose her because you hate Vanessa. I did not respond. The private terminal looked nothing like the chaos of JFK. It was quiet, polished, discreet, glass doors, soft chairs, a receptionist trained not to look surprised. Money liked to move without witnesses. Today it had witnesses. 2 airport police officers stood near the entrance. A Port Authority detective spoke with terminal staff. Ryan parked and turned to me. Stay with Miriam until I signal. I know, Liv. I looked at him. His voice softened. You built this case. I'm just doing my job. I know. He nodded once and got out. Miriam and I entered together. Daniel saw me immediately. He stood near the lounge windows with Vanessa beside him. Beyond the glass, a small jet waited on the tarmac, white and silver under the noon sun. Vanessa's cream suitcase was back, Daniel's leather carry-on too. For one absurd second, the scene looked elegant. Then I saw the third bag, a pink rabbit backpack, not Lily's real one, a new one, same brand, same color, bought to replace what he could not get. My vision sharpened. Daniel walked toward me fast. Where is Lily? Miriam stepped forward. Do not approach my client. He stopped. Barely. Where is my daughter? Safe, I said. Vanessa's face twisted. You hid her. I turned to her. From people trying to abduct her. Yes, Daniel barked a laugh. Abduct, I am her father. Miriam held up a folder, and currently under a court order restricting travel, contact, and removal. The fake order sent to Lily's school has been preserved. Daniel's face changed. For a fraction of a second, Vanessa said, we don't know anything about that. A detective approached. Daniel Hart. Daniel looked annoyed. Yes, can you explain why a charter flight was booked today for yourself, Vanessa Cole, and a minor child under the name Lily Bennett? Daniel's mouth opened, then closed. Vanessa looked at him. Bennett. The detective waited. Daniel recovered. That was a clerical error. My daughter's full family name is complicated. No, it isn't, I said. Her name is Lily Hart. Bennett is my maiden name. Miriam handed over documents. We have the school's report of the fake order, the charter quote, the prior airport report, and the standing family court order. Daniel pointed at me. This is harassment. She's obsessed. The terminal receptionist stared at her desk. A pilot near the hallway looked away. Vanessa stepped toward the officers, palms open. I'm not involved in custody. I was traveling with Daniel, that's all. The detective looked at her suitcase. May we ask why you told the charter office the child was delayed? Vanessa went pale. Daniel turned on her. You called them. You told me to keep them from leaving. I told you to check the time. You said Lily would be there. The words fell into the lounge like stones. Miriam did not smile. She simply looked at the detective. The detective looked at Daniel. Mr. Hart, do you have lawful authorization to travel with the child today? Daniel's jaw worked. She is not here. That is not what I asked. Daniel said nothing. Ryan entered from the side corridor with another officer. His face was official. No brother now. Daniel Hart, Ryan said. You are being detained in connection with attempted custodial interference, use of suspected forged court documents, and violation of a temporary custody order. Daniel stared at him. You can't keep doing this. Turn around. No. Vanessa stepped back. Daniel looked at me. His eyes were wild now, all polish burned away. This is your fault. No, I said. This is your second airport. The detective took Daniel's arm. Daniel jerked away. I said no. The response was immediate. 2 officers moved in. The lounge went silent. The receptionist stood. Vanessa covered her mouth. Daniel struggled once. Not enough to escape. Enough to remove every last claim that he was the calm one. Olivia, he shouted. Tell them. I held Bunny in both hands. The first cuff closed around his wrist. He twisted his head toward me. Tell them this is a misunderstanding. The second cuff clicked. I thought of gate 42, Lily's untied shoes, Vanessa's hand on her shoulder, Daniel's voice telling strangers I was unstable, the forged signature, the yellow house, the fake school letter, the fake court order, the way he had said court orders were paper. I looked at him and said, it was never a misunderstanding. They led him toward the side door. This time, no crowd of vacationers watched. No boarding announcement covered the sound, just the quiet terminal, the waiting jet, and the collapse of a man who thought money could make witnesses discreet. Vanessa grabbed her purse. I want a lawyer, the detective said. You'll have the opportunity to contact one. I didn't forge anything. Miriam tilted her head. Interesting how quickly everyone says that. Vanessa glared at her. An officer searched the luggage with consent from the charter company for security purposes and a warrant request already in motion for Daniel's bags. The cream suitcase contained clothes, cash, burner phones, and printed copies of documents. One was a copy of Lily's birth certificate, one was the fake court order, one was the forged school withdrawal letter, one was a draft declaration from Vanessa, unsigned, stating that Lily had expressed a wish to live with her father and Vanessa abroad, and beneath Vanessa's folded silk blouse was Lily's real silver bracelet, the one Vanessa had worn at dinner. My hand went to my throat. Miriam saw. Olivia, that's Lily's. The officer bagged it. Vanessa's voice cracked. She gave it to me. I turned to her. You keep saying that like stealing sounds better if you make a child responsible. For once, Vanessa had no answer. Ryan came back after Daniel was placed in a police vehicle. He kept a professional distance until the detective stepped away. Then he looked at me. You okay? I shook my head. No, Lily is safe, I know. But safety did not erase the sight of the pink backpack Daniel had bought for a child he failed to collect. It did not erase the fact that he had tried twice. It did not erase the way my daughter now measured love against exits. Miriam touched my shoulder. We need to go to the station, you'll give a statement, then we file for modification based on today's violation. What happens to him? Today changes everything. Through the glass doors, I saw Daniel being placed into the back of the police vehicle. His head turned. Even at that distance, I knew he was searching for me. He found me for a second. Our eyes met. He mouthed something. Not sorry, never sorry, you'll regret this. The car door closed. I looked down at Bunny and smoothed one bent ear. No, I whispered, though he could not hear me. I already regret waiting this long. Daniel turned on Vanessa before the police car reached the station. I learned that from Miriam, who learned it from Blake Sutter, who called her sounding less like a shark and more like a man trying to step out of a burning building without getting ash on his shoes. My client maintains MS, Cole acted independently regarding certain documents, Blake said over speakerphone in Miriam's office that evening. Miriam leaned back in her chair. How convenient. I sat across from her with Lily's bracelet sealed in an evidence bag on the desk between us. The silver beads looked small under fluorescent light. Smaller than the damage done around them. Blake cleared his throat. Daniel was under emotional strain. Your client violated a court order within 48 hours of receiving it. He never had physical custody of the child today, because the school, the mother, council and law enforcement stopped him. This is becoming unnecessarily adversarial. Miriam glanced at me, and I almost laughed. Unnecessarily adversarial. Daniel could attempt to flee with my daughter twice, forge documents, use his mistress as a replacement caregiver, smear me publicly, trigger a false welfare report, and still his lawyer hoped we might be accused of bad manners. Miriam's voice stayed smooth. Here is what will happen. We are filing an emergency modification for suspension of Mr. Hart's visitation pending a full investigation. We are seeking exclusive decision-making authority for Mrs. Hart. We are amending the divorce complaint. We are preserving all civil claims related to forgery, misuse of separate assets, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. We will not join any statement describing this as a misunderstanding, Blake said. Daniel wants to see Lily. No, he is her father. He is currently being questioned about trying to remove her using false documents. He loves his daughter. Miriam's voice sharpened. Love is not a travel defense. Blake said nothing after the call. Miriam removed her glasses and rubbed the bridge of her nose. He's scared. Daniel, yes, but not of losing Lily. I knew, of charges, of exposure, of losing access to money, that too. I looked at the bracelet. Vanessa will flip. She already is. At 7:20 p.m., Ryan called. He could not discuss everything, but he told me enough. Vanessa had claimed Daniel told her all paperwork was handled by attorneys. Then officers showed her the portal logs, her own messages to the travel agency, the fake caregiver declaration, and the burner phone found in her suitcase. She changed her story. Daniel had asked her to upload documents. Daniel had said Olivia would never know until it was too late. Daniel had promised they would be a family abroad while the court sorted itself out. What about the fake court order? I asked, still being traced. Do they think Daniel made it? Ryan paused. They think Daniel didn't make it alone. Vanessa, maybe a clerk, maybe a document service, maybe the nervous young man at the notary office. The web was wider than I wanted, but at least now it was visible. I went back to Ryan's apartment after giving my statement. Lily ran to me the second I entered. I had Bunny in one hand and her safety card in the other. You brought him back, she said. I promised. She checked Bunny's ears, then hugged him. Is Daddy on the plane? No, where is he? I sat on the couch and pulled her beside me. Elena hovered near the kitchen, giving us room without leaving. Daddy is with police because he broke important rules. Lily's face went pale. Because of me? No, I took her hands. Because of his choices. Will he be mad? Probably. At me. At everyone except himself. She considered that. Then she said, that sounds like Daddy. It hurt. Because it was true. The next morning, Patricia came to Miriam's office. She did not ask. She appeared at reception in a grey suit and demanded to see me. Miriam advised against it. I agreed to 5 minutes in the conference room with Miriam present, a camera recording, and Ryan waiting downstairs. Patricia entered with her chin high. But her face had changed. The airport handcuffs at gate 42 had embarrassed her. The private terminal arrest had frightened her. She placed her handbag on the table. I want to see my granddaughter. No, I said. Her eyes flashed. You cannot cut out an entire family. I can cut out people who helped Daniel. I did not help him take her. You helped him call me unstable. Patricia's mouth tightened. You were unstable. Miriam lifted a brow. Careful. Patricia looked at the camera, then back at me, her voice softened by force. Olivia, I was trying to protect my son, and I was protecting my daughter. She is a heart. She is Lily. Patricia flinched. I had never said it like that before, not with such finality. In the Hart family, names were ranks. To Patricia, Lily being a Hart meant she belonged to a system. To me, Lily being Lily meant she belonged to herself. Patricia sat. Daniel says Vanessa misled him. He's lying. She says he used her. She's also lying. Patricia's lips pressed together. I leaned forward. They used each other. That does not make either of them innocent. For the first time in 10 years, Patricia looked old to me. Not elegant, not intimidating, just a woman who had mistaken control for family and now could not understand why the room was emptying. What do you want? She asked. From you. Yes, nothing. That seemed to scare her more than anger would have. Olivia, no money, no apology dinner, no family meeting, no advice about forgiveness, no messages through Lily, no access unless a court and a therapist agree it is safe. You don't get to call this family when family meant helping Daniel corner me. Her eyes glistened, but I did not trust tears from people who had used mine against me. You're being cruel, she whispered. No, I said, I'm being unavailable. Patricia left without saying goodbye. By noon, Daniel's company had learned enough to panic. Hartwell Systems was not huge, but it lived on investor confidence. Daniel had built his image around disciplined leadership, ethical tech, family values, and calm execution under pressure. Attempted custodial interference did not fit the pitch. Deck, his co-founder, Marcus Lee, called me personally. I did not answer until Miriam confirmed it was safe. Then I put him on speaker in her office. Olivia, Marcus said, I'm sorry to bother you. I need to verify whether company funds were used in any disputed travel arrangements. Miriam looked at me and nodded. I can provide my personal records through counsel. I said, I'm not making informal statements. Understood. Daniel told us you froze a family account and stranded him. I froze my separate funds. A pause. Separate. Yes, some of those funds covered company expenses last year. I have records. Marcus was silent long enough for me to hear office noise behind him. Then he said, we were told bridge funds came from Daniel's private capital. They came from my trust. Miriam wrote one word on her pad. Discovery. By 3:00 p.m., Hartwell's board placed Daniel on leave pending review. By 4:30, Patricia called me 12 times. By 5:00, Vanessa's attorney contacted Miriam to discuss cooperation. By 6:15, Daniel finally called from a number associated with the detention facility. I did not answer. He left a voicemail. Miriam listened first. Then she asked if I wanted to hear it. I did. Daniel's voice was rough. Olivia, this has gone too far. I know you think I tried to take Lily from you, but I was trying to protect her from the mess we became. Vanessa pushed some things. Yes, but I let it happen because I felt trapped. You shut me out. You made me feel like a guest in my own family. I need you to tell them I'm not dangerous. I need to see Lily. I need my wife to remember who I am. The voicemail ended. I stared at the phone. My wife, not Olivia, not the woman he betrayed, not Lily's mother. A role he wanted back because it could still serve him. Miriam waited. I pressed save, add it to the file. I said, that night, Lily drew a picture at Ryan's kitchen table. She used purple for herself, green for me, orange for Bunny, and blue for the moon nightlight. There was no Daniel. I did not comment on that. Children draw what feels safe before they can explain what does not. When she finished, she wrote at the top in careful letters, home is where mommy knows. I turned away for a second because my eyes burned. Elena saw and placed a hand on my back. You're doing it, she said. Doing what? Breaking the weather. I thought of Daniel's moods, Patricia's rules, Vanessa's smile. The storm system I had lived under so long. I had called it marriage. My phone buzzed. Miriam again. Emergency hearing granted. For Monday, Also, Vanessa's counsel confirmed she is prepared to state Daniel instructed her to act as Lily's caregiver abroad and told her he would obtain control of the trust once custody shifted. A second message came immediately after: Daniel's attorney wants to negotiate before court. I looked at Lily's drawing. Home is where mommy knows. I typed back with steady hands, no private negotiation. Then I added court. The final hearing did not feel final when it began. Nothing in family court ever arrived clean. There were motions, exhibits, continuances requested and denied, attorneys whispering, people shifting on benches, the soft rustle of paper pretending to be order. Daniel sat at the respondent table in a dark suit again. But this time his suit did not save him. His face looked thinner. His hair was still neat, but the confidence around him had cracked. Vanessa sat 2 rows behind him with her attorney. She did not look at Daniel. Patricia sat on the opposite side of the aisle. Alone, twisting a tissue in her lap, Claire sat behind me. That mattered, not because I needed the Hart family to choose me, because truth had finally made silence expensive. Miriam sat beside me with 3 binders and 1 slim folder marked final orders. My hands rested in my lap. No ring, no shaking. Judge Ramos entered. We stood, then we began. Miriam did not turn the hearing into a speech. She built it like a staircase first. The original airport incident at Gate 42, the forged travel consent, the booking to Lisbon, the 90-day rental, the school withdrawal letter, then the social media smear, the false psychological evaluation, the family dinner agreement seeking access to Lily's trust, Claire's statement, Grace Miller's affidavit, the museum violation, the false child welfare report, the fake court order, the private terminal booking, the alternate surname, the second airport arrest, the documents in Vanessa's suitcase, the bracelet. Every piece had felt heavy when I carried it alone, in court. Arranged in order, it became something else, a map, not of one bad day, of a campaign. Daniel's attorney tried to separate the pieces: miscommunication, emotional conflict, bad advice, third-party involvement, a father desperate to maintain connection. Judge Ramos listened, then Vanessa testified. She looked smaller on the stand, pink lipstick instead of coral, no pearls, no cream coat. Her attorney asked questions that allowed her to sound regretful without sounding fully guilty. Yes, Daniel told me. Olivia had agreed to travel. Yes, I uploaded documents at his direction. Yes, he said custody would shift once Lily was settled overseas. Yes, he discussed Lily's education trust. Yes, he said Olivia would not fight if the move happened quickly. Miriam rose for cross-examination. Ms. Cole, did you ever hear Mrs. Hart give consent for you to travel internationally with her daughter? No. Did you ever receive written authorization directly from Mrs. Hart? No. Did you tell the travel agency that you would manage Lily's day-to-day needs abroad? Vanessa swallowed. Yes. Did you describe Mrs. Hart as technically the mother? Her face reddened. I used a poor choice of words. Did you wear Lily's bracelet at a dinner where Mrs. Hart was pressured to sign over temporary custody and trust control? Vanessa's eyes flicked to Daniel. He did not look at her. Yes. Did Lily give you that bracelet? Vanessa hesitated. The courtroom air changed. No, she said. Patricia closed her eyes. Daniel stared at the table. Miriam's voice stayed even. How did you get it? It was in Daniel's house. Mrs. Hart's house, Miriam said. Vanessa said nothing. When Daniel testified, the old charm tried to return. He spoke about being afraid of losing his daughter, about my controlling behavior, about feeling financially diminished in our marriage, about Vanessa being a mistake that became emotional support, about wanting a reset. Miriam let him talk, then she asked one question. Mr. Hart, when you told Mrs. Hart at the courthouse that court orders are paper, what did you mean? Daniel froze. Blake stood. Objection. Judge Ramos overruled. Daniel adjusted his cuff. I don't remember saying that. Miriam played the hallway audio. His voice filled the courtroom. Court orders are paper. Lily is flesh and blood. She loves me. Remember that. The recording ended. Miriam looked at him. What did you mean? Daniel's mouth opened. No answer came. For 10 years, I had watched him talk his way out of rooms, investor rooms, family rooms, our kitchen, our bedroom. He always found the sentence that made someone else responsible. This time, silence found him first. Judge Ramos issued temporary final modifications that afternoon and scheduled the remaining divorce property matters separately. But the custody orders were clear: primary physical and legal custody to me, Daniel's visitation suspended pending criminal proceedings and therapeutic review, no contact between Vanessa and Lily, no unsupervised contact between Patricia and Lily. Passport held by my counsel, then secured under court-approved conditions, no public posting of Lily's image, no discussion of custody litigation with Lily by any party. A forensic investigation into the forged documents referred to the appropriate authorities. When Judge Ramos finished, Daniel gripped the edge of the table. "Your Honor," he said, voice strained, "I'm her father." Judge Ramos looked at him for a long moment. "Then you should have acted like it when it mattered." The gavel came down. Not loud enough outside the courtroom. Daniel tried one last time. "Olivia," Miriam began to step between us. But I shook my head. I stood in the hallway with people moving around us. Lawyers, parents, officers, strangers carrying their own disasters in folders. Daniel looked at my face as if searching for a door he used to know. "Please," he said. It was the first clean plea I had heard from him. No accusation wrapped around it, no immediate insult, just fear. But fear was not remorse. "What do you want?" I asked. "To see Lily." "Not today." When professionals who are not paid by you decide it is safe." His eyes filled, maybe for himself, maybe for Lily, maybe because consequences had finally reached a place charm could not enter. "I made mistakes," he said. "You made plans." He flinched. "I loved you," he said. That one hurt, not because I believed he loved me well, because there had been a time when I had built a life around the hope that he might learn how. "I know," I said, "but not enough to stop using me." His face tightened. "Olivia, don't erase me." "I'm not erasing you. I'm removing your access to harm us." Patricia approached slowly. "Olivia." I turned. She looked at the floor first. Patricia Hart, who had never entered a room without claiming it, could not meet my eyes. "I was wrong," she said. The words shocked Daniel more than me. Patricia's throat moved. "I defended him because he was my son. That does not excuse what he did." Claire stood behind her, silent. I waited. Patricia looked up. "I would like, someday, when it is appropriate, to apologize to Lily." "Someday is not mine to promise you," I said. "It will depend on Lily, her therapist, and your behavior between now and then." Patricia nodded. She did not argue. That was the first useful thing she had done. Daniel watched his mother accept a boundary and looked almost betrayed. Maybe that was his final punishment beginning. Not handcuffs, not court orders, the slow realization that the people who once orbited him had started choosing gravity elsewhere. 2 weeks later, I stood in a bank vault room with Miriam and placed Lily's passport into a safety deposit box. The passport looked ordinary, navy cover, gold seal, small booklet, the kind of thing families toss into drawers before vacations. But when I held it, I felt the weight of every lie Daniel had built around it. Miriam handed me the court storage receipt. "You keep one copy." "I keep one. No one accesses it without written process." I nodded. The box slid shut. The lock turned. Something inside me unclenched. Not fully, maybe not for a long time, but enough. Lily started therapy on Wednesdays. Her therapist, Dr. Ames, had a room full of puppets and sand trays and soft chairs. Lily liked the turtle puppet best because, she told me, he carries his house so nobody can take it. I cried in the car after that session, quietly. Then I wiped my face before Lily came out because sadness was allowed, but I would not make her carry it at school. Maya kept Lily's safety card laminated inside her desk. Mr. Alvarez changed school policy for custody-related travel documents. No withdrawal forms without direct verbal confirmation from both legal guardians unless a court order said otherwise. No new emergency contacts without multi-step verification. Lily helped change a rule. Maya told her Lily liked that. Daniel's criminal case moved slower than my anger wanted and faster than his family expected. He was not dragged away forever in a single dramatic ending. Real consequences did not work like movie lightning. They worked like doors locking one by one. His company removed him as CEO pending investigation. The board discovered the private capital he claimed to have invested included funds traced from my separate accounts. Miriam referred that to the divorce case. His co-founder sent a formal apology through counsel. I did not answer personally. Vanessa accepted a cooperation agreement on lesser charges tied to document misuse. Her name appeared in local legal gossip for 3 days, then the people who loved scandals moved on, but the consequences stayed. She lost her consulting contracts, her ex-husband filed to revisit their own custody arrangement, the cream coat vanished from every photo she had not already deleted. Patricia sold her summer house to cover Daniel's legal fees. Claire called me once a week, not to ask for Lily, but to ask how to become someone Lily might safely know someday. I did not promise her anything. I did not shut the door either. The divorce took longer than the custody orders, but the important lines were drawn early. The house remained mine. Daniel's claim to reimbursement collapsed under bank records showing he had contributed less than he claimed and taken more than he admitted. The funds I had transferred to his company became part of a separate civil claim. Lily's trust remained untouched and protected. The court barred Daniel from acting in any financial capacity connected to her. One Friday evening in June, Lily had her school music program. She wore a blue dress with tiny white stars and insisted Bunny needed to come in my purse. Ryan and Elena sat beside me in the school auditorium. Maya waved from near the stage. Mr. Alvarez stood by the door greeting parents. For a moment, as children climbed onto risers and waved too hard at their families, my life looked almost normal. Then Lily found me in the crowd. She smiled, not the careful smile from the airport, not the checking the weather smile from our old kitchen, a real smile, uneven and bright. She lifted one hand, I lifted mine. The song was about seasons. The children sang too loudly, some behind the beat, some inventing notes. It was perfect. I cried through the second verse and did not hide it from Lily when she looked at me. After the program, she ran into my arms. Did I do good? You were amazing. Did you cry because it was bad? I cried because I was proud. She considered this. Happy crying. Very happy crying. She nodded, satisfied, and took Bunny from my purse. Bunny liked it too. On the way home, she asked if we could drive past the airport someday. Ryan glanced at me in the rearview mirror. I kept my voice calm. Why, baby? I want to see that planes can be just planes. My heart squeezed. So the next Saturday, we went not to fly, not to fight, just to look. We went to the public observation area near JFK, where families watched planes rise into the sky. Ryan and Elena came, but they stood back with coffee, letting Lily and me have the fence. A jet roared down the runway and lifted, wheels folding into its belly. Lily pressed Bunny against the railing. That one is going somewhere. Yes, everyone on it said yes. I hope so. She leaned into my side. If I go on a plane again, you'll know, I'll know, you'll know. We'll choose together. She nodded. The wind lifted her hair. I thought of gate 42, Daniel's hand on Lily's backpack, Vanessa's cream suitcase, the forged paper, the handcuffs, the private terminal, the second pink backpack bought for a stolen version of my child. Then I looked at Lily, safe beside me, and felt the old scene loosen its grip. My phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Daniel, I heard from Claire that Lily sang today. I wish I had seen it. I know you hate me, but please tell her I'm proud. I stared at the message for a long moment. Once, I would have carried it to Lily like a peace offering. I would have softened his absence, translated his damage, made him warmer than he was. I would have done emotional laundry for a man who kept staining everything. Not now. I forwarded the message to Miriam, as required, then I put the phone away. Lily looked up. Who was it? A grown-up thing. Do I need to worry? No. She smiled and turned back to the runway. The next plane rose cleanly into the blue. I did not need Daniel to disappear for us to be free. I did not need Vanessa ruined beyond repair. I did not need Patricia begging at my feet. I needed boundaries that held. I needed documents with my name correct. I needed my daughter's passport locked where lies could not reach it. I needed my home to stop being a place where one man's mood decided the weather. I had those things now. That evening, after Lily fell asleep, I stood in the doorway of her room and watched the moon nightlight glow on the wall. Bunny lay beside her pillow, her safety card sat on her desk, no longer clutched like a shield, just present like a reminder. I went downstairs to the kitchen of the house I had reclaimed. The wedding photos were gone from the wall. In their place, I had hung Lily's drawing, "Home is where Mommy knows I made tea." I opened the back door. Warm air moved through the kitchen. For the first time in a long time, the quiet did not feel like waiting for Daniel's key in the lock. It felt like mine.